Good evening. This is Peter Tobin introducing Lux Radio Theatre. Tonight and every Monday night at this time, Lux Radio Theatre presents for your entertainment the finest in radio drama. This week we present Home and Beauty by W. Somerset Maugham, a comedy set in London immediately after the First World War. What happens when a young woman finds herself married to two men at the same time, both of whom she loves dearly? After her husband, Major Bill Cardew, has been reported killed in France, lovely, frivolous Victoria marries his best friend, Major Frederick Lowndes. Their domestic bliss is suddenly and hilariously disrupted by Bill's return from the dead. Victoria adores both her husbands, and they both adore her. But while the two men argue the toss in the most gentlemanly way, Victoria finds her own way of unraveling the matrimonial tangle. Listen in a few moments to Home and Beauty, adapted by Helen Cunningham, produced for Lux Radio Theatre by Rolf Jacobs, and directed by Delphine Lethbridge.
Here's an idea that will make you feel soft and beautiful, and you can do it this evening. Just take a long, creamy bath with Lux Beauty Soap. Sink back and relax, and let the extra rich lather of Lux soften your skin to film star smoothness. Think of it, the creamy, moisturizing lather making your skin silky and relaxed. The precious perfume of Lux caressing you all over. Lux is the one beauty soap chosen by most beautiful Hollywood film stars. They choose it for its rich, moisturizing lather and precious perfume. Lux, a beauty treatment as you bathe.
Shield gives a confidence that actually shows
in your eye.
Put on Shield deodorant and it's dry in seconds. That's the way it stays right through the day. Shield never makes you feel sticky. It just protects you and keeps you dry, feminine, fresh. Wear Shield, and the only thing you show is confidence.
Shield gives a confidence that actually shows
In your eyes, in your eyes.
And now Act 1 of tonight's Lux Radio Theatre presentation, Home and Beauty.
Oh, Victoria, there's someone downstairs to see you.
Who is there? Who?
Mr. Lester Peyton. I didn't know you were still seeing anything of him.
He has been rather attentive lately, yes.
You should have married him instead of Freddie when poor Bill was killed in France. Victoria, he's made a fortune during the war. He's got a Rolls Royce. And he can wangle things like butter and sugar.
Mother, don't talk like that. Freddie was Bill's best friend. It's only natural I should turn to him for comfort. And I adore him. Oh, he's a little unreasonable at times, but then so was Bill. I adored him, too.
Yes.
And they both adored me.
All the same,
Both so handsome. Oh, look at their photographs side by side on my dressing table.
Yes.
And both dear souls. I flatter myself there aren't many women who'd be married to two dear souls.
I know, darling, but...
Bill was very fond of Freddie, and particularly wanted our child to be called after him. And that's why I called him Frederick, although he was born 3 months after poor Bill was killed.
I know, and that's why now you've married Freddie and had a son, you've
Called him William. Yes, I thought it was only fair, and Freddie agreed.
By the way, where is Freddie?
Oh, dear, I'm absolutely furious with him. He promised to take me out to luncheon, but he never turned up. Didn't even telephone. I think it's too bad of him. He may be dead for all I know.
What about Mr. Peyton? Are you going to see him? I mean, you can't keep him waiting all afternoon.
I may as well. Go and bring him up, Mother.
You're going to receive him up here? In your bedroom?
Well, certainly it's the only room in the house apart from the nursery where there's a fire. You know how difficult it is to get coal. Oh, yes, we mustn't keep Mr. Peyton waiting. Just give me a moment to put on some fresh lipstick, will you? I hope you didn't mind being dragged up all these stairs, Mr. Peyton. We have to be frightfully economical with our coal, you know. I can only afford to have a fire in my bedroom.
You're not going to tell me that you have any trouble in getting coal. Why on earth didn't you let me know?
You don't mean to say you could get me some?
Well, it's quite out of the question that a pretty woman shouldn't have everything she wants.
I told Freddie that I felt sure he could wangle it, but... well, I mean, what's the use of being at the War Office if you can't have some sort of pull? But he couldn't.
Well, leave it to me. I'll see what I can do.
How marvellous of you.
Now that these men are coming back from the front, no one will look at us poor devils who stayed at home if we don't make ourselves useful.
Well, you only stayed because it was your duty.
Oh, I volunteered, you know. I didn't wait to be called up. The government said to me, "You're a shipbuilder, go on building ships." So I built them ships.
And a little bird has whispered to me that the government intends to show its appreciation of your services in the honours list.
Oh, one doesn't ask for that. One's glad to have been able to do one's bit.
Oh, how true that is. That's just what I feel.
Yes, Victoria's worked herself to exhaustion.
I don't know how many committees I sat on or bazaars I opened.
That's true.
At the beginning of the war, you know, I worked in a canteen, but I had to give that up because I could never go out to lunch anywhere. I did think of working in a hospital, but they said I had no training.
Oh, I'm sure you would have made a very good nurse, dear.
I didn't propose being the ordinary sort of nurse. I was quite content to leave that to those who had to make their living by it. But it doesn't need any particular training to be nice to those poor, dear, wounded boys, to shake up their pillows and take them flowers and read to them. It only needs sympathy.
I don't know anyone who has more.
With people I like.
Well, darling, I think I'll go and see how my precious little grandsons are.
Oh, yes, Mother, do. Nanny's taken Fred out, but Baby's in the nursery.
Excuse me, Mr. Peyton.
Yes, of course. You have 2 children, haven't you, Mrs. Lyons?
Yes, 2 sons. Fred, who'll be 2 next month, by my first husband, Bill Cardew, and William, who's just 4 months, by my second husband.
I'm sure you're a wonderful mother.
Oh, I adore my children.
And a perfect wife.
You think so?
Doesn't your husband?
Oh, he's only my husband. His opinion doesn't count.
He's a lucky man. I envy him.
Do you?
Shall I tell you what I think of you, Mrs. Lyons?
Oh, no, don't. You'll only exaggerate. You know, there are only 2 qualities that I flatter myself on. I'm not vain, and I am unselfish. Oh, here's my husband now.
Afternoon, Peyton. Oh, good afternoon, Major Lyons.
Freddie, where have you been all this time?
At my club.
But you promised to take me out to luncheon.
Did I? Oh, I forgot all about it. I'm so sorry.
Were you busy?
Yes.
Well, Bill was never too busy to give me luncheon when I wanted it.
Well, fancy that.
Well, I've been getting along. Now the war's over, you fellas can take things easily. My work goes on just the same.
That's a new car you've got, isn't it?
I have to get about somehow, you know.
So do I, but being only a soldier, I manage it on my own 2 feet.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Lyons, and goodbye, Major.
Goodbye. So nice of you to come and see me. Now, Freddie, I'd be glad to know why you threw me over like that.
Are you obliged to receive visitors in your bedroom?
Oh, you don't mean to say you're jealous, darling. I thought you seemed grumpy. Come and give me a nice kiss.
I'm not in the least jealous.
Oh, you silly old thing. You know it's the only room in the house that's got a fire.
Why the dickens don't you have one in the drawing room?
My poor lamb, have you forgotten there's been a war and there happens to be a shortage of coal? I'll tell you exactly why we don't have a fire in the drawing room. Patriotism.
Well, I'm dashed if I can see why it'd be less patriotic to have a fire in the drawing room where we could all benefit from it, rather than here where it's no good to anyone but you.
Darling, you're not going to ask me to do without a fire in my bedroom. How can you be so selfish? Heaven knows I don't want to boast about anything I've done, but after slaving my life out these last 4 years, I do think I deserve a little consideration.
I'll go and see the kid.
It's not as if I grudged you the use of my room. You can sit here as much as you like. Besides, a man has his club. He can always go there if he wants to.
I apologize. You're quite right. You're always right.
I thought you wanted me to be happy.
But I do, darling.
Before we were married, you said you'd make that the chief aim of your life.
I can't imagine a sensible man would want a better one.
Well then, confess you've been a beast.
Oh, brute beast, darling.
No, I asked you to give me a kiss just now. Well, it's not a request I'm in the habit of having ignored.
And I trust it's not one that you're in the habit of making to all and sundry.
Now, tell me why you forgot to take me out to luncheon today.
I didn't forget. I was prevented. I haven't had luncheon myself. I'll just ring and ask the cook to send me up something.
Oh, the cook left this morning.
Again?
What do you mean again? This is the first time she's left.
Well, hang it all, she's only been here a week. I don't know why on earth you can't keep your servants.
No one can keep servants these days.
Other people do.
Don't speak to me like that, Freddie. I'm not used to it.
I shall speak to you exactly as I choose.
Well, it's so petty to lose your temper just because you can't have something to eat. I should have thought after spending 2 years in the trenches you'd be accustomed to going without a meal now and then.
Oh, for goodness sake, don't make a scene of it.
It's not I who am making a scene. I don't know how you can be so unkind to me. Bill would never have treated me like that.
But I can't imagine how you can...
I'm not exacting. I do everything I can to make you happy. I'm patience itself. Even my worst enemy would have to admit that I'm not selfish.
Victoria, now please, all I wanted
Bill
was...
wouldn't have taken my poor loving heart and thrown it aside like an old hat. Bill loved me. He would always have loved me. Oh, I adored that man. He waited on me, hand and foot. I'd give anything in the world to have my dear, dear Bill back again.
Well, I'm very glad you feel like that about it, because he'll be here in about 3 minutes.
What? What on earth do you mean?
He rang me up at the club this morning.
Freddie, what are you talking about? Who spoke to you?
Bill.
Bill? Well, Bill who?
Bill Cardew.
But he's dead, poor darling.
He showed no sign of it on the telephone.
Oh, Freddie, how can you be so heartless to joke like
Well, just
this?
wait and see for yourself.
Oh, now, Freddie, please, don't be vindictive. I didn't mean what I said. I adore you, darling, you know that. You can have a fire in your study and to the devil with a fuel controller. I'm sorry for all I said just now. There now. It's all right, isn't it?
Yes, perfectly. But it's not going to prevent Bill from walking into this room in about 2 minutes.
But it's not true. It can't be. Poor Bill was killed at the Battle of Ypres. He was actually seen to fall. He was reported dead by the War Office. Oh, you know how distressed I was. I wore mourning and everything. We even had a memorial service.
Yes, I know. It'll want a devil of a lot of explaining turning up like this.
I shall go stark staring mad in a minute. How do you know it was Bill on the telephone?
I recognize his voice.
What did he say exactly?
He said he was at Harwich Station and would be in London at 3:13, and would I break it to you?
But that was before luncheon. Why didn't you come at once and tell me?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was a bit shaken by then. I thought the first thing was to have a double whiskey and a small soda.
And what did you do then?
I sat down to think, and I thought steadily for a couple of hours.
And what have you thought?
Nothing. It's a devilish awkward position for me.
For you? And what about me?
I mean, after all, Bill was my eldest pal. You may think it rather funny that I've married his wife.
May think? Do you mean you haven't told him?
No.
He's coming here under the impression that I'm his wife?
Yes.
But why on earth didn't you tell him at once? It was the only thing to do.
Well, it just didn't strike me at the moment. Besides, it's rather a delicate thing to say on the telephone.
Well, someone must tell him.
I've come to the conclusion that you're the person to do it.
Oh, no, I'm not going to deal my darling Bill this bitter, bitter blow. Anyway, it's not my province.
Now, darling, you've got so much tact. I never knew anyone who could deal with a delicate situation as you can. You're so sympathetic, and you've got such a wonderful tenderness.
No. There's only one way to deal with this. You just take him by the arm and you say, "Look here, old man, the fact
It's
is..."
no good, Victoria. By George, here he is.
Oh, no, I haven't even parted my nose. Fortunately, I have no personal vanity. Oh, where's that powder puff? Where's my lipstick?
Hello. Well, here we are again.
Bill!
Well, was I right?
I can hardly believe my eyes.
Now, give me a kiss, old lady. Well, Freddie, old man, how's life?
A1, thanks.
Are you surprised to see me?
A little.
In fact, a good deal.
You've neither of you said you were glad to see me.
Yes, of course we're glad, Bill, darling, yes.
Tactful of me to get old Freddie to come round and break the news, don't you think, Victoria?
Yes, darling. And exactly like you.
It's just like old times to hear you calling me darling every other minute.
It's one of Victoria's favourite words.
You know, I nearly didn't warn you. I thought it would be rather a lark to break in on you in the middle of the night.
You what? I'm just as glad you didn't do that, Bill.
What a scene, my word. The Sleeping Beauty on her virtuous couch. Enter a man. Shrieks from the Sleeping Beauty. It is I, your husband. Tableau.
Oh, he really is a little lamb, Victoria. Who's that?
Who the devil do you think it is?
The language. And the voice. Bill Cardew's. Who is this man?
Well, I may be a bit thinner. and
No,
I've lost-
don't you come near me or I shall scream.
I was only going to kiss
Oh,
you.
take him away. Victoria, who is that man?
Well, Mrs. Shuttleworth, it's Bill Cardew.
But he's dead.
He doesn't seem to know it.
Oh, it's a horrible dream. Of course he's dead. That man's an imposter.
Shall I show you the strawberry mark on my left shoulder?
I tell you, Bill Cardew's dead.
Prove it.
Prove it. The War Office announced it officially. Victoria went into mourning. Why, we had a memorial service.
Fully choral.
Yes.
Did you have a memorial service for me, Victoria? Oh, that was nice of you.
I say, old man, we don't want to hurry you now, but we're all waiting for some sort of explanation.
Well, I was coming to that. I was just giving you time to get over your first raptures at seeing me again. Well, have you got over them?
I can only speak for myself.
I was wounded at Ypres. Badly wounded.
Yes, a fellow saw you fall. Said you were shot through the head. Just stopped a minute and saw you were killed and went on.
Well, I wasn't. I was eventually picked up and taken to Germany. Next thing I knew, I was in hospital. and my memory had completely gone.
Very strange.
But your memory came back.
Yes, gradually. It only returned fully shortly before we were released.
Well, couldn't you have written then?
They said I'd arrived before a letter, or even a telegram.
Well, I suppose it is possible.
Well, I'm not dead, as you can see. And what's more, I propose to live for another 40 years, if not 50. Now, I wouldn't mind getting out of these dirty clothes and into something decent. I'll just go through to my dressing room. I remember I had a blue serge suit that was rather dressy.
Oh, wait a moment. I've put all your clothes away.
Where?
In camphor. You can't put them on until they've been well aired.
Oh, well, I suppose I can... I say, is that the kid? What's his name?
Well, don't you remember just before you went away, you said you'd like him called Frederick if he was a boy?
Yes, I did. But you said you'd made up your mind to call him Lancelot.
Yes, well, when I thought you were dead, I felt I must respect your wishes. Of course, I asked Freddie to be godfather.
Has the old ruffian been a standby to you while I've been away?
I have seen a good deal of him, yes.
I felt you were safe with him, you know. He's a brick.
I say, spare my blushes.
He was very kind to me during my bereavement.
Dear old chap. I knew you were a tower of strength.
I did what I could, you know.
Oh, don't be so modest about it all. Well, I'm going along to the nursery to make his lordship's acquaintance.
Oh, something's got to be done.
Yes, but what? Oh, Freddie, think of something.
I don't know what to do.
Well, you've got to do something, even if it's only something stupid.
The only thing that occurs to me is to stand on my head.
Hey, Victoria. Victoria, I think we've been done.
Oh, dear.
That child. Upon my soul, there's not much of him for a 2-year-old.
That baby was 4 months last Tuesday.
4 months? So you've been busy in my absence, Victoria?
Freddie, for goodness sake, explain. Don't just stand there with your mouth open.
The fact is, you've made a rather absurd mistake, Bill. You've been away so long that naturally there's a good deal you don't know.
Such as?
Well, that infant you saw isn't your son.
I had a sort of suspicion that he wasn't.
Oh, the fool.
Well, who the deuce is the father?
Well, in point of fact, I am.
You? You don't mean to say you're married?
Yes, lots of people are. In fact, marriage has been quite a thing during the war.
Well, I'm jolly glad to hear it, old man. I knew you'd be caught one of these days. You were a wily old bird, but... well, we all come to it. My very best congratulations.
Thanks, that's awfully good of you. I'm staying here, you know.
Oh, are you? First rate. Is your missus here, too?
It's rather difficult to explain.
Oh, don't tell me she's only got one eye.
Look, can't you guess why I'm staying here?
No. You don't mean you've married Victoria's mother?
Oh, good gracious.
Well, no, not exactly.
What do you mean by not exactly? I hope you haven't been trifling with the affections of my mother-in-law.
Oh, do I look as if I were the mother of that baby?
Oh, we live in an age of progress. One should keep an open eye about things.
You misunderstand me, Bill.
Is there nothing between you and Victoria's mother?
Certainly not.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I should have liked to be your son-in-law. And you would have done the right thing by her, wouldn't you?
Really, Bill? I don't think you ought to talk like that about Mother.
If he's compromised her, he ought to marry her.
He hasn't compromised her, and he can't marry her.
Well, I don't want to be inquisitive, but if you didn't marry Victoria's mother, who did you marry?
Confound you, I married Victoria!
It's hello to Mrs. Felicity Usher, known as Flick. Hello, Flick.
Hello, Mr. John.
Tell me, Flick, what's the biggest wash day challenge that you could possibly imagine?
My son's white shirts. Quite honestly, I think he's the dirtiest boy in the school.
Really? Now, if I gave you a challenge, just one chance to get these dirty white shirts of your son's perfectly white again, how would you do it?
I'd use surf, because surf contains super glue. I think it's most important that white clothes should be white and not grey and grubby looking. And to look smart, they must be white.
Obviously, whiteness is very important to you.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, like Flick, most housewives I've challenged trust the experienced one, Surf with Super Blue for perfect whiteness.
Gosh, Mary, you're lucky to have such a hard-working servant. What do you mean? I haven't got a maid. Well, how on earth do you manage to keep your floors so clean and shiny?
That's easy. I use Dual.
Dual?
Yes, Dual, the self-shining floor cleaner. It's so easy because Dual cleans and polishes in one go.
How do you mean?
Well, Dual lifts all the dirt out of the floor and dries to a bright, long-lasting shine, all by itself.
So when you use Dual, you don't have to worry about polishing?
No, Dual cleans and polishes in one go.
I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting in this chilly drawing room, but I was still dressing. You're very kind to have come so soon.
What a catastrophe. You must be beside yourself. What in heaven's name are you going to do?
I've no idea. That's why I telephoned you. You have encouraged me to bring all my difficulties to you.
Yes, of course, yes. We must discuss the matter. I suppose you've been having the most terrible scenes.
Oh, heartrending. You see, they both adore me.
And you?
I only want to do my duty.
How like you. How exactly like you.
It was so sweet of you to come and see me at once. I was afraid you wouldn't have time.
Do you think I'd allow anything to stand in the way when you sent for me?
Oh, but I shouldn't like to think that you were putting yourself out on my account.
I wish I could pretend I were. As a matter of fact, I was only going down to see a place I've just bought in the country, and as I wanted to try my new rolls, I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone.
Oh, I didn't know you were buying a place.
Oh, it's a very modest little affair. The park is not more than 300 acres, and there are only 15 bedrooms. But you see, I'm a bachelor. I want so little.
Where is it?
Oh, it's near Newmarket. A man in my position is bound to do something for the good of the country, and it seems to me that to patronize a good old English sport which gives employment to numbers of respectable men is an occupation which is truly patriotic. I'm going to take up racing.
Oh, I think it's splendid of you. So many men waste their money on their own selfish pleasures. It's such a relief to come across anyone who's determined to make thoroughly good use of it. I've often wondered why you didn't go into Parliament.
For the past 4 years, I've been too busy winning the war to bother about governing the nation.
Yes, but now they want strong men of keen intelligence and dominating personality.
It's possible that very soon I shall have the opportunity to show what sort of metal I'm made of, but not in the House of Commons.
In the House of Lords?
You mustn't ask me to betray the confidence of the Prime Minister.
Oh, you look splendid in scarlet and ermine.
But it's too bad of me to talk about my own concerns when yours are so much more important.
Oh, but you don't know how I love to hear you talk about yourself. One feels a brain behind every word you speak.
It's easy to be brilliant when one has a sympathetic listener.
Of course, Bill and Freddie are darlings, but their conversation is a little limited. During the war, you know, it was rather smart to talk about guns and flying machines and flea bags, but now...
I understand so well, dear lady.
Why do you call me that?
Well, out of pure embarrassment. I don't know whether to call you Mrs. Cardew or Mrs. Lowndes.
Well, why don't you split the difference and call me Victoria?
May I?
It'll make me feel that you're not an entire stranger. Oh, and I need a friend badly. I'm all at sea. I'm married to 2 men, and I feel as if I were married to neither.
I wish you weren't. I wish with all my heart you weren't.
Why?
Can't you guess?
Oh, I must be very stupid.
Don't you know that I dote on you? I curse my unhappy fate that I didn't meet you before you were married.
Would you have asked me to marry you?
Morning, noon, and night, until you consented.
Oh, well, I never want a Paris model so much as when I know it's been sold to somebody else. I wonder if you'd want to marry me if I were free.
Yes, with all my heart.
But I'm not free.
And you, if you were, would you marry me?
I don't believe you're the sort of man who'd ever take no for an answer.
Oh, you're perfectly adorable.
I wonder if you'd take me out to luncheon.
Give me a chance.
Then come back in half an hour, and you'll find me ready.
Victoria! Oh, you're in here, Freddie. Why the devil have you left the window open? It's freezing.
I was trying to warm the room up a bit. Besides, they say it's healthy.
Well, a short life and a merry one for me. I like a fug.
Now, that won't make it any warmer. I tried that.
You silly ass. Oh, why didn't you light the fire?
But don't be so darned unpatriotic. You can't have a fire in the drawing room. Victoria must have one in her bedroom so that I... Where the devil did you get that suit?
Rather saucy, I flatter myself. Victoria sent it in for me.
Well, she needn't have sent you the only new suit I've had since the war. I think that's a bit thick.
Well, I couldn't go round in the dirty old thing I arrived in.
Well, if you'd had the decency to ask me, you might have had this suit I've got on.
Oh, thanks, but I don't altogether like that one. It's a bit baggy at the knees.
You're very much mistaken if you think you're going to wear all the new clothes and I'm going to wear all the old ones.
If you're going to be shirty about it, where the devil did you get that type in?
Oh, Victoria gave it to me on my birthday.
Yeah, well, it's mine. She gave it to me on my birthday first. And where did you get those cufflinks?
Those? Oh, Victoria gave them to me as a Christmas present.
Oh, did she? Well, she gave them to me as a Christmas present before she gave them to you. You jolly well take them off.
I'll see you blowed first. At your death, you left everything to her in your will. If she chose to give them to me, it's no business of yours.
Well, I'm not going to argue about it, but I think it's dash bad form to swank about in a dead man's jewellery.
By the way, did you ever have a hammered gold cigarette case?
Rather. That was Victoria's wedding present to me. Did you get it too?
Thrifty woman, Victoria.
I say, unless I have a fire, I shall turn into the Albert Memorial.
Well, it's all late. Apply a match and see what happens.
I think I will.
Here are some matches.
Oh, thanks. There.
But now I can take my overcoat off. You know, Victoria will be furious.
Well, that's your lookout. You'll have to take the responsibility.
Me? It has nothing to do with me. You're the master of this house.
Not at all. I am but an honoured guest.
Oh, no. The moment you appeared, I sank into insignificance.
My dear fellow, where did I sleep last night? In the spare bedroom. That proves conclusively that I'm a guest and nothing more.
Nonsense. Where the devil do you think I slept? Down here.
Why on earth did you do that? You were perfectly sober when I went to bed.
Victoria said I couldn't sleep in the next room to hers now that you were back.
Oh, well, I dare say you made yourself very comfortable on the sofa.
Look at the darn thing.
By the way, why has all the furniture been changed?
Well, Victoria had the room redecorated after you were killed. It had too many old associations. She wanted to distract her mind.
Oh, I was under the impression that you'd undertaken that.
I was sympathetic. That is surely what you'd have liked me to be.
Of course. I'm not blaming you.
If you'd seen Victoria in tears, you couldn't have expected a man not to try and console her.
She's the only woman I ever knew who looks as pretty when she cries as when she smiles. It's a great power.
There. I knew you'd take it like a sensible man.
Quite so.
When would you like me to clear out?
My dear fellow, why should you want to do that? Surely you don't for a minute imagine that I shall be in the way. I propose to make my visit quite a brief one.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Victoria will be very disappointed. But of course that's no concern of mine. You and your wife must arrange that between you.
My dear fellow, you quite misunderstand me. I am not a man to come between husband and wife.
What the devil do you mean?
Well, if it comes to that, what the devil do you mean?
Good morning, Bill, dear.
Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning, Freddie.
Good morning, Victoria.
I went to Bill first because he's been away so long.
Very naturally. And he was your husband long before I was.
I don't want either of you to be jealous of the other. Who lit that fire?
He did.
It was his match.
Of course, you don't care if we run so short of coal that my wretched babies die of double pneumonia. It's simply criminal to use coal in here.
I'm tortured by the pangs of remorse. But if you feel so badly about it, need you get quite so close to the fire?
Well, if there is a fire, I may as well get some benefit from it. Now, as I was saying, I don't want any jealousy. I adore you both, and I'm not going to show any favoritism.
It's quite all right, Victoria. I know quite well that I only came second in your heart. As long as Bill was around, you never had a thought for me.
Oh, I don't know about that. Even the most constant woman likes a change now and then.
No. I know Victoria has a faithful heart. She can never really love any man but you, Bill. Victoria, you know how I adore you. You're the only woman in the world for me. But Bill has come back. And therefore there's only one course open to me as a gentleman and a man of honor. It's a bitter, bitter sacrifice, but I'm equal to it. I renounce all rights in you. I will go away, a wiser and a sadder man, and leave you to Bill. Goodbye, Victoria. Give me one more kiss before we part forever.
Oh, how beautiful of you, Freddie. What a soul you've got.
Goodbye, Victoria. Forget me and live happily with a better man than I.
I shall never forget you, Freddie. Goodbye. Go quickly now. I shall break down.
Goodbye, Bill. Do be kind to her. I couldn't do this for anyone but you.
Nothing doing.
What do you mean? Get away from that door and let me pass.
Only over my dead body.
Bill, why prolong a painful scene?
My dear Victoria, I am not the man to accept a sacrifice like that. No, I'll not come between you.
Oh, Bill, how noble.
Victoria, I'm a gentleman and a soldier. To all intents and purposes, I'm as dead as mutton. I'll remain so.
Victoria will never be happy with me now that you've come back.
Not another word. She's yours.
I understand it all. You're both so noble, so heroic, so unselfish. But I can't have you both. I must have a husband, but only one. I cannot have and will not have two.
Wait, I have an idea. Let's draw lots.
How do you mean, Freddie?
Well, we'll take 2 pieces of paper and make a cross on one of them. Then we'll fold them up and put them in a hat. We'll draw, and the one who draws the cross gets Victoria.
Oh, That'd be rather thrilling.
No, I'd sooner toss for it. I'm lucky at tossing.
You mean to say you funk it?
Well, I don't exactly funk it. It's an awful risk to take.
Oh, it'd be so romantic. Come on, get some paper, Freddie.
Yes, all right.
No, I don't like it. This isn't my lucky day. I saw the new moon through glass. I knew something was going wrong the moment I opened my eyes this morning.
There. Now, whoever draws the blank paper renounces all claim to Victoria. He vanishes from the scene like a puff of smoke. He'll never be heard of again.
I still don't like it. I repeat that I only do it under protest.
Now, Bill, don't be disagreeable the moment you come home.
We'll have plenty of time for that during the next 40 years.
And you seem rather above yourself, Freddie. Supposing you draw the blank.
I saw a dappled horse this morning. Well, the pieces of paper are ready. What shall we put them in?
Well, here's the waste paper basket. That's the best thing.
Right. Now, you do understand. One of these papers has a cross on it. I will put the 2 papers in the basket. There we are. And now Victoria shall hold it. It's agreed that whoever draws a blank shall leave the house at once.
Yes.
Right. Here you are, Victoria.
Now, shake them well.
All right. I say, isn't this thrilling?
Now, you draw first, Bill.
No, I can't. I really can't.
But it's your right. You're Victoria's first husband.
Oh, he's right there, Bill. You must have the first dip in the lucky bag.
Oh,
Come on.
This is awful. I'm sweating like a pig.
Courage, old man, courage.
It's no good. I can't.
Oh, I can see how much you love me, Bill.
Shut your eyes, man, and make a plunge for it.
Oh, well, the only thing is to get it over. I wish I'd been a better man.
Now, the other's yours, Freddie. Come on, take it.
Thank you. Blank. It's blank. Blank.
Oh, I haven't opened mine yet. Oh, my heavens.
Oh, my poor Freddie.
Don't pity me, Victoria. I want all my courage now. I've lost you, and I must bid you goodbye forever.
Oh, Freddie, this is too awful. You must come and see me sometime.
No, I couldn't. That's more than I could bear. I shall never forget you. You're the only woman I have ever loved. Give me one last kiss, Victoria. Goodbye.
Before you go, you might just let me have a look at that other piece of paper. The one with the blank on it.
Why do you want to see it?
Just curiosity.
Now, really, Bill. I don't know how you can be so heartless, giving way to curiosity when my heart is breaking. Anyway, I threw it on the fire.
Oh, no, you didn't. You put it in your pocket.
I've had enough of this. Can't you see that I'm a desperate man?
Not half so desperate as I am. If you don't give me that piece of paper quietly, I'll take it from you.
Go to blazes.
Come on, give it up.
What is the matter? Have you both gone mad?
I'll make you.
Here, don't you touch me.
Now, will you give it up?
Let go of my arm. You're twisting.
Yes, and I'll break it if you don't give me that paper.
Ow, you devil. Stop it. All right. You can have it.
That's better. Hand it over now.
There you are. I don't know how you can call yourself a gentleman.
You dirty dog.
Oh, what's the matter?
Well, look at that.
It's got a cross on it.
They both had crosses on them.
But I don't understand.
Don't you? He was making quite sure that I shouldn't draw a blank.
What?
I did it for your sake, Victoria. I knew that your heart was set on Bill. Only you couldn't bear to hurt my feelings, so I thought I'd make it easier for you.
Oh, that was just like you, Freddie. You have such a charming nature.
It almost brings tears to my eyes.
Oh, now that's the baby. I must go and see where Nanny is. Now, don't say anything important till I get back.
How did you guess?
You were so devilish calm about it.
That was the calm of despair.
One might almost think you didn't want Victoria.
Bill, old chap, you know I'm not the sort of man to say a word against my wife.
Nor am I the sort of man to listen to a word against mine.
But hang it all, if a fellow can't discuss his wife dispassionately with her first husband, who can he discuss her with?
I can't imagine, unless it's with her second.
Tell me what you really think of Victoria.
The sweetest little woman in the world.
No man could want a better wife.
She's pretty.
Charming.
Delightful.
I confess that sometimes I've thought it hard that when I wanted a thing it was selfishness, and when she wanted it was only her due.
I did sometimes wish I could call my soul my own.
The fact is, I'm not worthy of her, Bill. As you so justly said, no man could want a better wife.
No, you said that.
But I'm fed up. If you'd been dead, I'd have seen it through like a gentleman, but you've turned up, so now it's over to you.
No. Look here, there's only one thing to do. She must choose between us.
I'd rather toss for it.
I'm not going to risk anything like that. I've had enough of your hanky-panky.
I thought I was dealing with a gentleman.
Here she's coming up.
Oh, really, this is too much. Nanny's given notice.
What?
So I've telephoned Mother to come and fetch the children.
Well, that's all right, then.
No, all the other servants are leaving too, right now.
Well, that's a bit thick, I must say.
Oh, I've done everything in the world for them. And now to walk out like this. They're following the example of that wretched cook, of course.
Oh, well, Freddie and I will do the housework and cooking until you get some more. But there's one thing, Victoria.
Yes?
Well, we've decided there's only one thing to be done. You must choose between us.
Oh, how can I? I adore you both. Besides, there's nothing to choose between you. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
No, you must decide. Now take a good look at us, Victoria, and say which of us it's to be.
To tell you the truth, I don't see why it should be either.
What? Hang it all, it must be one or the other.
I think no one can deny that since the day I married you, I've sacrificed myself in every mortal way. I've worked myself to the bone to make you comfortable. Very few men have had such a wife as I've been to both of you. But one must think of oneself sometimes.
How true.
Well, the war's over now, and I think I've done my bit. I've married 2 dear souls. Now I want to marry a Rolls Royce.
But I thought you adored us.
Well, you see, I adore you both. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, and the result is...
a washout.
Hang it all, I think it's a bit thick. Do you mean to say that you fixed up to marry somebody else behind our back?
Oh, you know I wouldn't do a thing like that, Freddie.
Well, I don't get it.
My dear Freddie, have you ever studied the domestic habits of the unicorn?
We're afraid our education was very much neglected.
The unicorn is a shy and somewhat timid creature, and it's impossible to catch him with the snares of the hunter. But he's strangely impressionable to the charms of the fair sex. When he hears the frou-frou of a silk petticoat, he forgets his native caution. In short, a pretty woman can lead him by the horn.
Oh, Victoria, dear, I've come for the children. Oh, and Mr. Peyton is downstairs.
Did he come in a Rolls Royce?
Why, yes.
I'll come down at once. The unicorn's going to take me out to luncheon.
New Skip is the best powder for automatic washing machines. Ask any manufacturer about Skip's low-lather formula and how it works with his machine to give the best results. And ask any housewife about Skip's great new whitening power.
It's true. My machine manufacturer recommended New Skip, so I tried it, and it's fantastic. New Skip has oxygen whiteners, and it gets my whites really white. And Skip is great for colors, too. Whichever program I use on my automatic washing machine, Skip gives me wonderful results.
Yes, Skip is best for your clothes and your machine. That's why it's recommended by all 16 top manufacturers of automatic washing machines.
Close-Up toothpaste is for close-ups.
Close up when you're kissing. Kissing. Close up when you're touching. Touching. Close up when you're smiling. Smiling. Yeah. Close up is for close up.
When you're close to people, really close, you need new Close-Up toothpaste. Clear red or clear green mint. 2 whiteners clean your teeth their whitest white. A real mouthwash gives you fresh breath. Close-Up, it gets breath as fresh as possible and teeth as white as possible.
Close up when you're kissing. Kissing. Close up when you're touching. Touching.
I say, these coals weigh about a ton. You might carry them up to the drawing room.
I might, but I'm not going to. It isn't my work. I'm doing the cooking. You really can't expect me to do the housework as well.
Are you doing the cooking? Looking round this kitchen, I don't see any sign of it. There's a lot of dirty dishes. I don't see why I've got to sweat my life out.
Now, you see, you have no organization. Housework's perfectly simple, only one must have organization. I have. That's my secret.
I was a mug to say I do the housework. I might have known you'd freeze onto a soft job if there was one.
I naturally undertook to do what I could do best. Cooking is an art. Any fool can do housework. Now just look nippy and get the table laid while I see to the potatoes.
Is it luncheon or dinner?
Well, I don't know yet. but we're having it down here in the kitchen because it's easier for dishing up. Organisation again.
What does Victoria say to that?
No, I haven't told her yet.
She's in an awful temper this morning.
Oh, why?
Well, because the water in the bathroom wasn't hot.
Wasn't it?
You know very well it wasn't. You were too lazy to get up in time. So much for your organisation.
What do you mean?
Well, ever since I've been at the War Office, I've heard fellows talking about organisation, but I never could find anyone to tell me just what it was. It's beginning to dawn on me now.
Well, what is it?
Organisation means getting someone else to do your job for you if you can, and if you can't, letting it rip.
I really think it's too bad of you two. I've been ringing the bell for the last quarter of an hour. There are 2 men in the house, and neither of you pay the least attention.
We were having an argument.
Yes. Let me put it before you, Victoria.
It has nothing to do with Victoria. I'm the cook, and I won't have anyone come interfering with my kitchen.
You must do something, Victoria, or you'll get no luncheon.
I shan't be here for luncheon.
Why not?
Because Mr. Lester Peyton has made me an offer of marriage, and I have accepted it.
But you've got 2 husbands already, Victoria. Hello, who's that?
That's my solicitor.
Oh, what?
I told him to come at once. I'll go and open the door, Freddie, will you?
What the dickens does he want?
He's going to fix up my divorce.
You're not letting the grass grow under your feet, are you?
Hurry and answer the door, darling.
All right. I was just taking my apron off.
This is a desperate step you're taking, Victoria.
Well, I had to do something. You must see that the present situation is absolutely impossible.
Well, if you've quite made up your mind to divorce me, I can almost look upon you as another man's wife.
What do you mean by that?
Only that I can make love to you without feeling a thundering ass.
Oh, careful, they're coming. It would never do for my solicitor to find me in my husband's arms.
It would be outrageous.
How do you do, Mr. Raham?
How do you do?
Do you know my husband?
I'm pleased to meet you, gentlemen. I dare say it will facilitate matters if I am told which of you is which and which is the other.
Well, this is Major Cardew, my first husband, and this is my second husband, Major Loudon.
Oh, that makes it quite clear.
How do you do?
How do you do, Major? How do you do, Major? Oh, interesting coincidence. What? Both majors.
I suppose Mrs. Lowndes has put you in possession of the facts, Mr. Raham.
I think so. We had a long talk in my office yesterday. She is determined to divorce you both. I've told her that this is not necessary, since she is obviously the wife of only one of you.
It's just as well to take no risks.
But do I understand that you 2 gentlemen are agreeable?
Speaking for myself, I'm prepared to sacrifice my feelings, deep as they are, to the happiness of Victoria.
Very nicely and feelingly put. And you, sir, will you give this lady the freedom she desires?
Yes, of course. Certainly.
Well, so far so good. Now, it will save time and trouble if we get up the case against both of you in the same way. Since neither of you will defend the case, there is no need for you to go to the expense of legal advice, and so I propose to go into the whole matter with you now.
You can feel quite easy about taking Mr. Raham's advice. He's arranged more divorce cases than any man in England.
You must be a very busy man.
I assure you, Major, I'm one of the busiest men in London. Well, I will come to the point. In this country, if a couple, for reasons which merely concern themselves, wish to part company, a husband needs only to prove adultery to divorce his wife. But the English law recognizes the natural polygamy of man, and so when a wife desires to divorce her husband, she must prove, in addition, cruelty or desertion. Now, do you wish the cause of offence to be cruelty or desertion?
Well, personally, I should prefer desertion.
Certainly. I should very much dislike being cruel to Victoria.
And you know, I could never hurt a fly.
Well, then we'll settle on desertion. I think myself it is the more gentlemanly way, and besides, it is more easily proved. I will arrange it all by means of letters. An application for the restitution of conjugal rights will be made, and then 6 months later we shall bring an action for divorce.
6 months later? But when will I be free, then?
In about a year.
Oh, but that won't do at all. I must have my freedom by, before the racing season ends at all events.
Oh, as soon as that?
Well, the Derby, if possible. Certainly by the 2,000 guineas.
Yeah, in that case, it will have to be cruelty.
It can't be helped. They'll have to be cruel.
I don't like the idea, Victoria.
Try and be a little unselfish for once, darling.
I'd never strike a woman.
If I don't mind, I don't see why you should.
Cruelty has its advantages. If it's properly witnessed, it has a convincing air which desertion never has.
My mother will swear to anything.
Servants the better. The judges are often unduly suspicious of the mother-in-law's testimony. But you can leave it safely to me. I've devised my own system and have never known it to fail. I always arrange for 3 definite acts of cruelty. First at the dinner table...
perhaps we could leave the principle for the time being and go into the details later.
Very well. Let us pass to the last point. Trivial in itself, but essential in order to satisfy the requirements of our English law. adultery.
That, I think, you can safely leave to us. With the price of a supper in my pocket and an engaging manner, I'm prepared to supply all the evidence you want.
I am shocked and horrified by your suggestion. Do you expect a man in my position to connive at immorality?
Immorality? Well, there must be, shall we say, a soupçon of it, under normal circumstances.
Not at all. I always arrange this part of the proceedings with the most scrupulous regard to propriety. I shall arrange for both of you to come to my office and meet a certain lady.
What's she like?
A most respectable person. I have employed her in practically all the fashionable divorces of the last 15 years.
You amaze me. Does she make money by it?
Oh, sufficient for her simple needs. She charges only 20 guineas for her services.
Well, I'm sure I could get it done for less.
And not by a woman of refinement.
Oh, well, with most of us, it's only once in a lifetime.
Well, I will proceed. You will fetch this lady at my office and drive with her to the Hotel Majestic, where you will register as husband and wife. You will be shown to a suite of rooms which I shall engage for you, and supper will be served in the sitting room. You will partake of this, and you will drink champagne.
I should like to choose the brand myself.
I have no objection to that.
Thanks.
Then you will play cards. Miss Montmorency is a wonderful card player. She has not only an unparalleled knowledge of all games for two, but she can do a great number of tricks. In this way, you will find the night pass without tediousness, and in the morning you will ring for breakfast.
Well, I'm not sure I'll have much appetite for it.
Sounds like the devil of a beano.
I should like to see her first.
Come to think of it, I'd like to see her too. Men are so weak. I'd be much easier in my mind if I'm sure these poor boys won't be led astray.
Well, that's easily arranged. I have Miss Montmorency with me. She is waiting in a taxicab at the door.
Is she that sort of person I should like to meet, Mr. Raham?
Oh, a perfect lady. She comes from one of the best families in Shropshire.
Oh, well, go and fetch her, Freddie.
Very well.
Do you mean to say that with this evidence you'll be able to get a divorce?
No doubt of it. I've got hundreds.
Well, I'm only a soldier, and I dare say you'll not be surprised that I find it difficult to believe.
Brandy.
What's the matter?
Is this the way?
You'll soon see.
Come straight in, Miss Montmorency.
Make it a big one, and have one yourself, too.
Ah, Miss Montmorency.
But this is the kitchen.
Oh, I see what you mean. Let's have another.
I'm afraid it's the only room in the house that's habitable at the moment.
Yes, Miss Montmorency, Mrs. Frederick Lowndes.
I'm charmed to make your acquaintance. The injured wife, I presume?
Yes.
So sad. I'm afraid the war is responsible for the rupture of many happy marriages. I'm booked up for weeks ahead. So sad.
Do sit down, won't you?
Thank you. And now, which of these gentlemen is the erring husband?
Well, they both are.
Oh, really? And which are you going to marry after you've got your divorce?
Neither.
But I naturally concluded that one was the husband you are discarding, and the other the husband you are acquiring. The eternal triangle, you know.
In this case, the triangle is four-sided.
Oh, how very peculiar.
I don't want you to think I've been at all careless, but the fact is, through no fault of my own, they're both my husbands.
Oh, really? How very interesting. And which are you divorcing?
I'm divorcing them both.
Oh, I see. Oh, very sad. But I think I ought to tell you at once that I shouldn't like to misconduct myself. I use the technical expression with both these gentlemen.
Oh, we shall be generous, Miss Montmorency.
I have to think of my self-respect. One gentleman is business, but two would be debauchery.
Mrs. Lowndes is anxious to put this matter through as quickly as possible.
Well, I dare say my friend, Mrs. Onslow Jarvis, would oblige if I asked her as a personal favour.
Are you sure she can be trusted?
Oh, she's a perfect lady. The widow of a clergyman, and she has 2 sons in the army.
Unless we can get Miss Montmorency to reconsider her decision, I'm afraid we shall have to put up with Mrs. Onslow Jarvis.
I am adamant, Mr. Raham, adamant.
Well, I'm all for Mrs. Onslow Jarvis, personally.
Then you fall to me, Major. I didn't quite catch your name.
Cardew.
I hope you play cards.
Sometimes.
Oh, it's such a relief to find a gentleman who's fond of cards.
Otherwise, I suppose the night seems rather long.
Oh, not to me, you know. I am such a student of human nature. But my gentlemen begin to grow a little restless when I've talked to them for 6 or 7 hours.
I can hardly believe it.
One gentleman actually said he wanted to go to bed. But of course I told him that would never do.
Forgive my asking. You know what men are. Do they never attempt to take liberties with you?
Oh, no. If you're a lady, you can always keep a man in his place.
I can assure you, Miss Montmorency, that you need have no fear that I shall take advantage of your delicate position.
Of course you will divest yourself of none of your raiment.
On the contrary, I propose to put on an extra suit of clothes.
I'm sure we shall have a delightful night. And I know you, Major...
Lowndes.
I'm sure, Major Lowndes, you'll like Mrs. Onslow Jarvis. She has such charm of manner, so much ease. You can see that she did a lot of entertaining when her late husband was vicar at Clacton. They have a very nice class of person at Clacton.
Yes, I shall be charmed to meet her.
I don't know what Mr. Raham would say to our sharing a suite. We could play bridge. She's a very fine bridge player, and we only pay threepence a hundred because in her position she can hardly gamble, can she?
I always like to oblige Miss Montmorency, but I hardly think that arrangement would do. You know how fussy some judges are. We might hit on one of them who saw nothing in it.
Well, let's take no risks. Business is business. It must be you and me alone then, Major Cardew. You will let me know in good time when you fix the fatal night. I'm very booked up just now.
Of course, we'll do everything to suit your convenience, Miss Montmorency. And now, Mrs. Lowndes, as we've settled up everything, I think Miss Montmorency and I will go.
I can't think of anything else.
Goodbye, then. I am not going to say goodbye to you, Major Cardew, but au revoir.
Believe me, I look forward to our next meeting.
Good morning, Mrs. Lowndes, and good morning, Major Cardew.
Shall I show you to
No, we shall find our own way out.
Goodbye, Mr. Raham. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, this is a bit of all right you've let us in for, Victoria.
Well, darling, it's the only thing I've ever asked you to do for me in all my life, so you needn't complain.
I'll bear it like a martyr.
The only thing left is for me to bid you goodbye.
Already?
You must understand, under the circumstances, it wouldn't be quite nice for me to stay here. Besides, without servants, it's beastly uncomfortable. I should go to Mother.
Oh, your mother?
Where else would you expect a woman to go in a crisis like this? And the children are there already, so,
Won't you even stay for luncheon?
Lester will give me a better one, I think. In any case, I realize it's a painful moment for both of you, and we shan't make it any easier by dragging it out.
True.
Goodbye, Bill. I forgive you everything, and I hope we shall always be good friends.
Goodbye, Victoria. I hope this will not be, by any means, your last marriage.
When everything's settled, you must come and dine with us. I'm sure you'll find Lester has the best wines and cigars that money can buy.
Goodbye.
And now, Freddie, it's your turn. Now that there's nothing more between us, you might give me back that tie pin I gave you.
Here you are.
Thank you. And there was a cigarette case. You've no doubt got it in your pocket.
Take it.
Thank you. They say jewelry's gone up tremendously in value since the war. I'll give Lester a cigarette case as a wedding present.
You always do, Victoria.
Men like it. Goodbye, Freddie, dear. I'll always have a pleasant recollection of you.
Goodbye, Victoria. Would you like a taxi?
No, thanks, I'll walk. I think the exercise will do me good.
Wonderful woman.
Yes, I shall never regret having been married to her. Now, what about lunch?
Annabella, if we could just have a turn to the left. That's enough. Now, smile. Yeah, I think that's just about it. Now we'll move on to the interior shots, and that's it for the day.
International fashion model Annabella G is on location in southern France. Being a top model, you can imagine how Annabella cares for her complexion. She uses Lux Beauty Soap.
Lux is so creamy, so very soft. It cares for my complexion. I wouldn't use anything else.
Like Annabella G, like beautiful women everywhere, choose the creamy, moisturizing lather of Lux to care for your complexion. Lux, a beauty treatment as you bathe.
Gosh, Mary, you're lucky to have such a hard-working servant.
What do you mean? I haven't got a maid.
Well, how on earth do you manage to keep your floors so clean and shiny?
Ah, that's easy. I use Dual.
Dual?
Yes, Dual, the self-shining floor cleaner. It's so easy because Dual cleans and polishes in one go.
How do you mean?
Well, Dual lifts all the dirt out of the floor and dries to a bright, long-lasting shine, all by itself.
So when you use Dual, you don't have to worry about polishing?
No, Dual cleans and polishes in one go.
In tonight's Lux Radio Theatre presentation of Home and Beauty by W. Somerset Maugham, the part of Victoria was played by Margaret Milner Smythe, with Roger Service as Bill Cardew, her first husband, and Tony Wood as Freddie Lowndes, her second husband. As her mother, you heard Sheila Raymond Jones. John Simpson played the part of Lester Patton, and Peter Lee Hunt that of Mr. Raham, the lawyer. Miss Montmorency was played by Gillian Lomberg. Home and Beauty was adapted by Helen Cunningham, produced for Lux Radio Theatre by Rolf Jacobs, and directed by Delphine Lethbridge.
This is Radio 4. Today is the 90th birthday of the celebrated authoress Dodie Smith, and our Saturday night theatre is the BBC's tribute to her.
Dear Octopus by Dodie Smith, adapted for radio by Cynthia Pugh, with Gwen Franken Davis and Robert Harris as Dora and Charles Randolph. The play is set in the Randolph home in 1938, where Dora and Charles, with their family around them, are celebrating their golden wedding anniversary. Dear Octopus.
Hello, Bill. Hello, Fanny. Oh, what a marvellous fire. I've been giving it a blow with the bellows.
Goodness, what a time they're being over dinner. Was everything all right?
Quite, I think. I got sent out at dessert.
What for?
For telling Granny about me and bananas. Did you know that if I eat a banana, I'm sick at once?
I shouldn't eat them then.
I don't. But I did think Granny would be interested. I just happened to tell her because she was eating a banana.
So, out you went.
Yes. It's funny, isn't it? Lots of children come in for dessert, but I go out for it.
I wish they'd hurry up. The maids will never get done.
Gertrude's stumping about like anything.
Oh.
It's nice having golden envelopes for golden wedding telegrams. Though, of course, you could send them for funerals if you like.
Oh, Bill.
Why didn't you come in for dinner?
On a night like this? Do you know we've never had the house so full since I came here?
Do you like being Granny's companion?
Very much indeed.
I think you're a very good sort of woman, Fanny.
Thank you, Bill.
Bit of chocolate?
No, thank you. I'll have some sandwiches when Cynthia and Great Aunt Belle arrive.
I've never seen Great Aunt Belle. I bet she's a gorgonzola. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Feeling better, Scrap?
I wasn't ill. Only just didn't want any dinner. Hasn't Aunt Cynthia come yet?
Not yet, but the car's gone to meet her. Did you see the cable from your father?
Yes, I'd rather like to see it again.
It's here. Congratulations on your golden wedding. Love to Scrap, David Kenton.
Would you like to have it?
Wouldn't Granny mind?
Of course not.
Then I think I would. Fancy it coming all the way from Singapore.
Not really, you know. You just write them at the post office.
I know that perfectly well. I don't think I'll have it, thank you.
It's the thought that matters, you know. They don't do that at the post office.
But I can remember the thought without a bit of paper, I expect. I'd like to know when Auntie Cynthia comes.
You are a blighter, Bill.
Well, she's so soppy.
She's still missing her mother.
It's 2 solid years since Aunt Nora died. I believe she thinks Aunt Cynthia's going to be like her because they were twins. Is she?
Like Nora? Not in the least. Oh, poor Scrap.
I wish we didn't have any dead people in the family. It sort of spoils the party.
Hello?
Glory, glory, Uncle Nick!
Hello, Bill. Oh, don't bat me in the stomach. Oh, Fanny, my dear. Hard at it, I suppose.
Well, things are a bit hectic.
So where's everyone?
Still at dinner.
Are you going in? Oh, but don't, or they'll never come up.
Oh, I'm filthy anyhow. Didn't leave the office till after 8. We just landed the contract for all the Gusto publicity.
Oh, what, the beastly sauce stuff?
The sauce may be beastly, but the advertisements are grand. I say, did you hear my broadcast last week?
Every word. It was beautifully clear.
You spoke so jolly fast, they had to have a 2-minute interval after you.
Yeah, they said I was a bit speedy. Here, what do you think you're doing with that suitcase?
Looking for my present.
Present? It's not Christmas.
I bet there is one, though. Is this it?
No, that's Flounce's.
This?
No, that's for Scrap. I say, what's Scrap like?
When Freddie's sitting, we have to be very gentle with her.
Here, look out, that's my dress shirt. There you are, you loathsome boy.
Oh!
Oh, and this is for you, Fanny.
Oh.
Just thought you'd like it.
Oh, a posy. Oh, Nicholas, thank you. Oh, it's charming.
A paint box! Oh, thank you!
That's all right. This is Mother's golden wedding present. It's an old necklace I found in the Burlington Arcade. And these are some first editions for Father.
You are a generous person.
Nonsense. My dear, your hands are rough. You've been doing a lot of dirty work.
Oh, odds and ends. We've been a bit rushed.
I must buy you some nice smelly glycerin and whatnot. We advertise some stuff called Lily Hands. It's really rather lousy.
I'm not allowed to say lousy.
Well, I am. It just shows how unfair life is.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Nicholas.
Good evening, Gertrude. How are you?
Very well, sir, thank you. Can't you get them out of that dining room, miss?
Oh, try not to upset yourself, Gertrude. I'll help you with the washing up.
No, you won't, miss. You must be dog-tired yourself. You can't do it, Mr. Nicholas, turning 2 in family into 14 with only a couple of girls from the village to help.
Gertrude, you're not your sunny self.
No, I'm not, sir. And if we feel like this now, how are we going to feel by Monday? You should just see Cook's varicose veins.
I've seen them, haven't I, Gertrude?
And a dance tomorrow, if you please. 30 people coming.
She's been so splendid. It's just the sitting late over dinner.
Here, I'll rout them out.
No. Leave it to me. Run along and wash.
I'll take your case upstairs, Uncle Nick.
Cheer up, Gertrude. Think how slim you'll get.
I'll take
the case, Bill. You'll train yourself.
Your father's all right. Hello.
Pies. In every room.
I know they're a curse, but the house is so cold, and I'm sure we both want everything to be lovely this weekend.
Yes, of course, miss. The master and mistress have been so looking forward to it, every living child under their roof. And Miss Cynthia hasn't been home for 7 years. I always say golden weddings are very beautiful. Only they did ought to come out of that dining room.
Wait. Oh, they're coming now. Round you go, and I'll be along in a minute to help. And and Gertrude, have you got any hand lotion?
That's washing the nursery paint this morning. I've some cream of lotus buds. I'll lend you some. Annie, they're coming out. We're terribly late, Eddie. Is Gertrude ruffled?
Oh, it's quite all right, Mrs. Randall. I'm just going to give her a hand.
Thank you, dear. Shall we sit here or in the drawing room?
There's a splendid fire here, Mrs. Randall.
Very well, Edna, dear. Just tidy the hearth, will you?
Yes.
We shall need some more chairs.
Can we get some from the drawing room for you, Mr. Randall?
Thank you, Laurel. Now, let me see now.
Oh, don't count Flouncy because she's going to bed.
Oh, Mummy, I can't. I'm terribly full.
She'd better go for a brisk walk round the garden.
I don't want to go for a brisk walk. I just want to sit still.
Sitting still won't suggest your dinner. Now run along and you go with her, Hilda.
I've got a telephone, Mother.
Who to, dear?
My secretary.
Write her a postcard, dear. Telephone's so expensive.
I'll pay for the calls myself, Mother dear. It's an extremely important business matter.
Well, I'll take you, Flouncy. I can do with a bit of exercise.
Go with your father, dear.
Oh, right.
Your coat's in the cloakroom.
And put your galoshes on.
I don't have any galoshes.
Then borrow mine. You'll find them in the boot rack.
I don't like galoshes, Granny. They make your feet look awful.
Your father won't mind how your feet look.
Come along, Queen of Sheba.
I much prefer to stay with the others, Daddy.
I know, dear, but a walk will do us both.
That child's getting conceited.
She'll grow out of it. I was terribly conceited at her age.
And still are ugly.
Oh, Hugh.
It's a pity you two are so plain. It doesn't give that baby of yours much chance in life. Ah, but we're hoping the baby will inherit Mother's classic features.
Thank you very much.
How do you like being a grandmother, Edna?
I find it comparatively painless, thank you, Mrs. Randall.
Nanny and I think that the baby's got a look of Peter.
Your father? I wish I could remember him.
Funny to think Peter would have been a grandfather.
Oh,
why, Mother dear.
No, it's nothing, dear. I was just wishing that he could be here. And Nora, too. Oh. No, I'm quite all right now.
Now, what about those chairs?
Hilda.
Yes, Mother.
You're hovering. Now sit down.
I've got a telephone, Mother.
Then telephone, dear, and get it over. You'll find it very drafty.
Oh, don't I know.
And don't go on talking after the pip, 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 because they charge you at once. Hilda's business can't be very well run if it won't take care of itself for a weekend.
Oh, she's quite a big pot, really, Granny.
What does she do?
She's an estate agent. She's put through 1 or 2 pretty big deals in house property.
It's a surprise to me that Hilda knows the back of a house from the front. Oh, look at the time. Fanny?
Yes, Mrs. Randolph?
Have the Topkins girls gone back to the village yet?
No, Mrs. Randolph, they're still here.
Oh, I promised their mother. Hugh,
Yes, Granny.
I wondered if you'd run them back in your car.
Yes, of course.
It's such a long, dark road, and they really aren't right in the head. Tell them to get ready, Fanny.
Yes, Mrs. Rundle.
Coming, Laura.
Righto. I'll get the coats while you start.
Edna, dear, I wondered if you'd mind having one last look round the bedroom fires, particularly Aunt Bell's.
Oh, all right.
I'm afraid she'll be very, very tired after her journey. Take the coal glove, dear, and then you won't soil your hands. Marjorie, dear. Marjorie, just run along to the kitchen and see if you can do anything. It's really time the sandwiches came in.
All right, Mother dear.
Yeah, and just see if Hilda's still telephoning. I don't think she really understands about the pip, pip, pip. Tell her it's 11pence every time it pips. Oh, were you saying something about chairs, Charles?
I was, my love, but as you've successfully found little jobs for everyone, we've really far more chairs than we need.
Oh, so we have. Oh, well, I shall be glad of a little breathing space before the others arrive. Oh, I do hope everything goes off well. All our children lead such busy lives. I should like this weekend to be a real rest for them.
Yes, dear. Is there anything you'd like me to do before I sit down?
I don't think so, dear.
Ah.
Oh, just put another log on, will you?
Yes, dear.
Charles?
Yes, my love?
I can't help feeling that we ought to have gone to meet Cynthia.
No. You know we decided
Yes,
the
I
best
know, but
thing
where
to
we right? Oh, I agree that we mustn't appear to be rushing at her, but just the car and the chauffeur, it's so cold, so unwelcoming. After 7 years. Oh, if only I knew the reason.
But haven't we agreed to accept the reason she's given? She's been busy. It hasn't been convenient. After all, Paris is a long way.
Stuff and nonsense. I'd have popped over to see her long ago if I hadn't been frightened of what I should find. Is that the car?
No. Now, don't let yourself get jumpy. Sit back and relax. You know, I'm really very much touched that Belle should want to come down to us this weekend.
I dare say she'd be very glad to. She's probably pretty much at a loose end in England.
I can't imagine Belle at a loose end anywhere.
Oh, you must be prepared for a pretty big change in her.
I suppose so. 25 years in America.
25 years anywhere. Yeah. Charles, how old is Belle?
I'm blessed if I know.
Now, let's see. She married your brother William in 89. I'm sure she's older than I am.
Oh, then she must be 71.
I think she's older.
How strange.
What?
To think of Belle as old, all that red gold hair.
Oh, that'll be gone anyhow. I wonder if she'll be white or just streaky. So many women go streaky. Expect we shall get a bit of a shock.
What that?
Well, her looks. After all, we've both kept pretty young.
You certainly have.
Well, I always had a good skin, and that helps more than anything. I don't think Belle will have worn well. Poor Belle. She'd never have taken William if she could have got you.
Nonsense. I wonder what her American husband was like.
You certainly left her very well off. That is the car.
No. Now, keep calm, dear. Yes, just coming up the drive. Now, Dora, dear, don't excite yourself. It's only Belle. Cynthia isn't there.
Oh, Charles.
Now, my dear, there are 2 more trains tonight.
She's not coming. She'll never come.
No, quietly, dear. Belle's just here. Belle, my dear.
Charles.
It's good to see you.
Belle, my dear.
Isn't this splendid? Dora, you're as pretty as ever. Well, now, isn't this just too exciting?
Now, let me take your coat.
Oh,
and your hat.
Thank you, Charles. There.
Belle.
Oh, have I changed so much?
You haven't changed at all.
If that isn't the nicest thing I've heard since I landed. Oh, I can look better than this.
But it hasn't gone grey at all.
Oh, it may be sea green for all I know. It's a good 20 years since I saw its natural colour.
Do you mean it's dyed?
Well, it's helped. Now, don't go looking at me through a microscope, because I can't stand up to it. You want to get a quick, general impression.
My dearest Belle, you've defeated age.
Extraordinary. We were just saying that... How old are you, Belle?
You don't know? Then nobody knows. Not one soul in the world. Isn't that fine?
Aren't you going to tell us?
I am not. I never did believe in telling my age. And it won't be any use looking in my coffin, because it won't be on that.
But it seems a bit silly when one gets to our time of life.
Dora, my mother used to talk like that when she was 40. It's all a question of one's attitude to life. I don't like old age. I don't like anything about old age. And I'm not giving it any sort of helping hand there. Now, let's have a look at you two. Oh, you good-looking couple. Oh, my. It's fun to be back in this room. You know, I don't believe you've changed a thing.
We've had new crayons at least 3 times.
Well, they've got the same sort of feel. Where am I sleeping?
In Little Spare. You always liked that.
Is Moses still in the bulrushes?
Certainly. It's a very fine engraving.
I slept there the first time I came here when Will and I were engaged. And that must be... No, never add up years. Hello, who's here?
I'm Bill.
Marjorie's youngest.
She knows. She sends us presents every Christmas. I expect I'm a bit older than you imagine.
You certainly are.
She sent me a woolly rabbit.
Oh, I do apologize.
It's quite all right. The dog liked it.
I suppose you're at school.
Not just at present. I was expelled.
Whatever for?
For using bad language. Would you like to know what I said?
Oh, I certainly would. We'll make a date for tomorrow.
I don't encourage him.
It was only a silly little dame school. He didn't say anything very bad.
I said all I knew.
I bet you did.
Hello, everybody.
Cynthia.
Oh, my dear. My dear, dear Cynthia.
Mother, darling. Father, dear.
Cynthia.
Goodness, is it Aunt Belle?
Indeed it is.
It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
How did you get here, Cynthia?
By the bus. I've left my suitcase down at the Green Man.
The Green Man? Oh, Bill, tell Thompson to fetch it at once.
Righto, Granny. I'm Bill. I'll be back.
He was crawling round the nursery last time I saw him.
I can't think why you wanted to come on the bus. It takes 3 hours.
I thought I'd like to drive through the villages. Things haven't changed much. No electric light yet?
It's coming to the village next year, but we shan't have it. I never did fancy having the house wired. Oh, just turn that lamp down. It's smoking, Charles.
Right.
Sit down, dear. Oh, you must be stiff after that jolting bus.
I walked it off.
I think you're not in mourning.
Heavens no, Mother. Everyone wears black in Paris.
That looks remarkably like Raquel.
It is. I work for her.
As a manka?
Nothing so youthful and glamorous. Just a sort of receptionist and general odd jobber. The blouse is less funereal.
Oh, you're looking thin, my darling.
Thank God for that. I used to be terribly buxom. You two haven't changed a bit.
I'm afraid we have. It's 7 years.
Yes. Oh, this room shrunk. I suppose rooms always do. Where's Fanny? Where is everyone?
They're about somewhere.
Aunt Cynthia?
Yes, Bill?
This is Scrap, Auntie Cynthia. She particularly wanted to see you.
Poor Nora's child, Bill.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Scrap. This is our very first meeting, isn't it?
Yes. How do you do? I hope you had a pleasant journey.
Thank you, Scrap. It was very nice.
And here's your great Aunt Belle, Scrap. Such a lot of new relations.
I always thought your name was Kathleen.
It is, but Mummy always... I've always been called Scrap. Granny, would it be all right if I went to bed now?
You ought to be in bed already. Run along. I'll look in when I come up.
I expect I'll be asleep. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Steph.
I didn't exactly make a hit.
I think she was expecting you to be like her mother.
Like Nora? Oh, poor little devil.
Oh, I'm very worried about her. I don't at all like the sound of this school she's at. I must write to her father. Bill, go to bed.
All right, Granny, but it's no good. The house is so restless.
Why don't you show me my room, Bill?
Oh, Bill.
No. Sit down, Dora. Come along, Bill. Maybe we'll find some candies.
Oh, good.
I think I'll go up too, Mother. I want to wash.
Shall I?
No, don't come, dear.
Am I in my own room? Of course, my darling. Don't be long. Sandwiches are coming in later. Charles, I knew it. There is something wrong with Cynthia. That cold, hard manner.
Now, Dora.
Oh, we've let it go on too long. We've lost her, Charles. Oh, my poor Cynthia. Anyone could see she's not happy.
There, my dear, I know how you feel. She was always your favorite.
I never had any favorites. I loved them all equally, but I always liked Cynthia best. Oh, we were such friends.
I wish the whiskey would come in.
It's coming, don't fuss.
Hello.
Ah, Nicholas.
Oh, Nicholas, my dear boy. Why did nobody tell me you were here?
Hello, Mother, darling.
Oh.
How are you, Father?
Glad to see you, my boy.
Happy golden wedding. Yeah, the real anniversary's on Sunday, isn't it?
Just see if Fanny's getting the sandwiches, will you, dear?
Oh, right, I'll give her a hand.
Charles,
Yes?
what did you think of Belle?
Astonishing. Not a day older. Of course, she always had a magnificent complexion.
She never had a complexion at all. She just had a skin. And I shouldn't think she's seen that for years.
Oh, Dora, really.
Must be very worrying to take a face like that out in the rain.
I do love you when you're being catty.
Not being catty at all. I think she's in a magnificent state of preservation. By the way, I worked it out. She's 73. I shall wear my silver tomorrow, not my black.
Whatever you wear, you'll cut her out.
Oh, Charles, I was being catty.
You were, my love. You were.
You two have been having words?
Certainly not.
I don't believe you. During my entire life, the slightest disagreement between you has been settled by Father kissing you on the top of the head.
I sometimes kiss your mother on the top of the head when we have not had a disagreement.
One way or another, it's remarkable she has a hair left. Sandwiches on this table?
That's right, dear, and bring up some chairs.
Where should I put the cocoa, Mrs. Randolph? Here?
Yes, Fanny, dear, on this stool.
Right.
Cynthia loves cocoa.
How about the whiskey?
The whiskey on the table there, Marjorie. How are things in the kitchen?
Looks like a battlefield.
Oh, yes. I won't offer you a sandwich, Marjorie, because it wouldn't be kind.
Oh, do you really think I'm heavier?
Oh, no, not more than a couple of stone.
You don't take enough exercise. When you were a child, you were always curled up in a chair.
Couldn't curl up in a chair now, could you, dear?
Rubbish.
Oh, well, what's broad in the bean comes out in the buff. Go on, you know you want one.
Oh, well, just one thing.
Come on, Fanny, you must be famished.
Oh, I am rather hungry.
Cynthia.
Hello.
Hello, Marge. I say you put it on a bit.
Oh, you beast, you're slimmer than ever. Oh, well, you haven't had 2 children.
No, I haven't done that. How are you, Fanny? Nice to see you again, Cynthia. Hello, Nicholas.
Hello, Cynthia.
Oh, Nicholas.
Edna, how are you?
Can you manage Friday? I've got the seat.
Friday. Oh, yes, that's quite all right. Dine with me first, then. Scott?
I'd like to.
Better make it 7.
Fine.
It's very nice for you to have a brother-in-law to take you out, dear. Especially now Hugh's married.
I took her out long before Hugh married. Or rather, she took me.
Ah, Belle, dear. This is my daughter-in-law, Edna.
Yes, we met upstairs.
I'm Marjorie.
Save us. You were the skinny one.
I'm having a loathsome evening.
Aunt Belle, you look marvellous. Let me press a very sardine kiss on your cheek.
Nicholas. And not married or anything?
I don't know what you mean by or anything.
I don't believe Nicholas will ever marry.
Neither do I.
Let me tell you, I've had my chances.
You're a born bachelor, Nicholas.
And who is this? Another daughter-in-law?
No,
This is our very dear Grace Fenning. Fanny.
My companion.
Don't call her that, Mother. Such a dreary name.
Won't you have some sandwiches?
Great Aunt Belle gave me these chocolates.
Oh, how kind of Aunt Belle. You must offer them round.
Oh, all right. Does anyone want one?
No, thanks.
No. Sure, it's quite all right.
No, thanks, old chap. It's very kind of you.
Oh, go on, Mummy. You never say no.
Go to bed and stop in bed.
Good night, Granny.
Good night, darling. We'll let you off the other good nights.
Oh, very well. Couldn't I wait till Flouncey comes in?
No. And clean your teeth again after those chocolates.
I should think my teeth must be joined near worn away.
Where on earth have you been, Hilda?
I told you, Mother. Telephone.
You weren't really telephoning.
Belle, how nice.
Oh.
Cynthia.
Hello, Hilda.
Oh, what an age it is.
You weren't really telephoning all that time, Hilda?
Yes, Mother.
But it must have been 20 minutes.
21. I asked to exchange.
Now, where are you going now?
I want to make sure I put the receiver on.
And before dinner was the bathroom taps. She went all the way upstairs to see if she turned them off. Really, I don't think she's quite sane.
Well, she's sane enough to make a damn good income.
Well, was it on?
Yes.
Oh, quite sure?
Oh, Mother, don't.
Now, Hilda, if you go back again, I'll have you certified. Oh, for goodness sake, sit down. Let's have some peace. Edna?
Yes,
Did you bring the coal glove back?
No, I'm afraid.
Oh, I'd better get it, dear, and then it'll be here when it's wanted.
Oh, very well, Mrs. Randolph. I had to let our fire out, Hilda. It's smoking hopelessly. No, I don't mind. I'm afraid I do. I'm used to central heating.
I'm afraid Edna's just a little put out that she hasn't got Cynthia's room.
Well, she always does have it. And I know she hates sharing.
Somebody's got to share, and it's quite obvious that I should give Cynthia her old room.
You haven't given me my old room. Marty and Kenneth are in it.
You're welcome to my share of it. It isn't a full-size double bed, and you know how Kenneth kicks.
What discontented children. Grumble, grumble, grumble.
What? Grumbling, Mrs. Montmorency? He's dead now, poor man.
Who is? The grocer's boy with the squint. It was when Nicholas had the measles.
Never try to explain a family joke, Mother. They sound the merest gibberish. You remember, don't you, Cynthia?
Yes, I remember.
Ah, Edna.
Here's the glove, Mrs. Randolph.
Thank you, dear.
I'd have soot's come down now, Hilda. Oh, dear.
A brick came down that chimney once.
Strikes me we shall be very lucky if we're alive in the morning.
Excuse me, madam.
Oh, do you want me, Gertrude?
It's the hot water bottles, miss. Annie's got the mix, madam. Good gracious. Whose is that with a satin cover?
Mine, Dora.
Mine? Where's mine, Gertrude?
Annie went and gave it to Miss Pratt. Will you have the stone one, Hilda?
No, Mother. It bruises my toes.
Oh, very well. I'll have the stone one. Give Miss Hilda mine, Gertrude.
Oh, no, Mother.
No, not another word. I just want everyone to be happy. All right, Gertrude?
Thank you, madam. Gertrude, please. I was perfectly all right with the stone one. Mother must have a decent one.
Really, I think it's about time we all made a move. Now, we can manage 2 hot baths tonight and 3 tomorrow morning. Will you have yours now, Belle?
Well, if it'll make things easier.
And Edna second.
Very well.
You like yours in the morning, Cynthia?
Yes.
And Nicholas, will you please not fill the bath to the brim? We must all remember the washing up.
Don't worry, darling. I had a good soak this morning, and I'm not counting on seeing a bath again till I get home on Monday. What beats me is to think of the state of filth we must have lived in as children.
Nonsense. Don't tell me that all these baths people have nowadays are for cleanliness. Oh, they're for fun. Would you run along, Belle, dear?
Well, I suppose I'd better say good night.
Oh, don't bother, Auntie. We shall go on bumping into each other on landings for hours and hours, yes.
Well, I'll say a provisional one then.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Finish your dress for the dance, Penny?
Oh, I've still got the hem to turn up. Slip it on and I'll do it for you. Would you really? Oh, but there's still the glass and silver to put away.
Oh, Edna, dear, you'll give me a hand with the glass.
Very well, Mrs. Randolph. Are you sure you don't mind? I would like to have the dress tomorrow if I could.
You cut along. We'll clear all this away.
Oh, wonderful. I'll get the dress, Cynthia, and then go straight down to the sewing room.
Fine. Let me clear these things.
Splendid. Marjorie, give us a hand. Help to get your weight down.
Oh, very well. I can't believe I'm the only one who has to watch her weight.
Oh, hello, Kenneth.
Hello, boy. Now, come along, Francie. We'll just say good night.
Walked your dinner off, Francie?
I wish you wouldn't call me Flouncy, Grandpa.
I must try to remember your name's Gwen.
You stop being such a vain little peacock, and perhaps we'll stop calling you Flouncy.
I'm not vain. If Granny sends me any galoshes, I shan't wear them.
You hop off to bed. Now, come on, I'll take you upstairs. I think I walked her a bit far.
I'm too tired to go to bed.
No, you're not. Come on, you need your beauty sleep. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Clancy.
Oh, good gracious, where is everybody? People just slide away. Marjorie,
No,
I wanted to...
Not tonight, dear. You'll be worn out. Just come along to bed.
Oh, well, perhaps I will. I do want to be fresh for tomorrow. Did you notice how stiff she was?
Who?
Belle, of course. Those stairs gave her a bit of trouble. You can have your face lifted, but you'll still have to lift your own leg. Are you going to lock up?
No, not for a bit. Hugh and Laurel are still out.
I'm thankful to say Esther's have never been any trouble to me. I believe she's 77. Have we all gone to bed?
Quite probably. Rather a good job. You must find them a bit overpowering.
Me? Your family? I adore them. I adore everything here. I'm crazy about large families.
That's because you're an only child.
I dare say. I wish I had ancestors.
Well, of course you have.
No. People who are born in flats don't have ancestors.
What are you looking at?
Your father's picture. He was exactly your age when he was killed in the war.
Come on, Faith. Ready for bed?
I suppose so. Are there any more family to see?
Oh, Belle. I expect she's arrived. And Cynthia.
Oh, the dark horse.
Shut up. Granny doesn't know about that.
Oh.
I suppose I better turn this lamp out.
We must have a look at baby. Oh, Hugh. Isn't it thrilling to think he's sleeping in your father's nursery with your father's old nurse looking after him?
It's a jolly sight more thrilling to think it won't be us he wakes up in the middle of the night. Hello, Penny.
Hello.
We're just off to bed. So should you be.
I shan't be long.
Good night.
Good night, Penny. Night.
Oh,
Hello, Nicholas. Where have you been?
putting the car away.
Oh.
Ah, is that the dress?
Oh, mind the pins in the hem. Cynthia's going to sew it for me tomorrow.
Do you know what I remember you in best? A grey flannel suit and a hat like a little pork pie you wore it the first day you came here.
Oh, fancy you remembering.
You stood there in the doorway clutching a sort of Gladstone bag, looking exactly like little orphan Annie.
I felt a bit like her. You were all at tea. I thought you were the most superb family I'd ever seen.
Hmm. And what do you think of us after, how long? 7, 8?
10 years. Oh, you're not so bad.
No, but seriously, sit down a minute. Feel like talking.
Oh, all right.
I was walking around the garden just now, looking at all the bedroom windows lighted up. There's something rather heartbreaking about family gatherings.
How do you mean?
I don't know exactly. I suppose they make you realize the shortness of life. Old age simply rushing at one. We used to be such a nice-looking lot of kids. Look at us now. Marjorie fat as a barrel. Hilda getting completely desiccated. And Cynthia sitting about registering the woman with a past.
Oh, Nicholas, don't. I don't see any of them like that. And look at your father and your mother. Haven't they grown old beautifully?
Nothing grows old beautifully. Our Belle's a scream, isn't she? Just held together with sticking plaster.
You are the most extraordinary person. I've never known anyone else who was so kind-hearted and yet so malicious.
Am I often malicious?
Oh, quite often. I wonder if you could be cruel.
I expect so. How clever of you to find out. Oh, the family. The family. I can never quite make up my mind whether I love it or loathe it. I believe I'd rather give £50 than come to these gatherings of the clans.
Oh, rubbish. You like them, really.
I wonder if you're right. They've got some sort of horrible fascination. I say, why do you let me drivel on like this? Well, what time do you get up in the morning?
Oh, about 7.
Oh, I am a thoughtless swine. You pop off to bed. You're a very sweet person, Fanny. You look about 14 sitting there in your dressing gown.
I'm 29.
Crikey, are you? Don't you ever regret the years you've spent with this dreary family?
Not one of them, and it's not dreary. I'm sorry I said that you were malicious.
My dear, it's perfectly true. But I don't think I could ever be malicious about you. Your poor hand. It's like a little nutmeg grater. Dear Fanny. Oh, hello, Edna. Come and get warm.
No.
Here, it's nearly 11. You hop off to bed, Fanny. You'll be dog-tired in the morning. Up, Sir Daisy. Legs tight.
Oh, a bit.
Shall I carry you?
Of course not. Good night, Edna.
Good night.
Good night, my dear.
Good night, Nicholas.
Nicholas, I call that the limit, sitting holding Penny's hand in the firelight.
Have you gone out of your senses?
I know, it's just sheer thoughtlessness. Unless... I suppose you don't happen to be in love with her.
Good God, no.
You might have a little imagination.
Nicholas, will you lock up? Yeah, very well, Father. And see to the fire.
Yeah, I will.
Good night, Nicholas.
What did you mean just now, Edna?
If you really don't know... perhaps I was just being officious. Good night.
Good night, Edna.
I like mugs. Did they always have mugs in this nursery?
Always, Miss Scrap.
Which mugs did Mummy have?
See now. Well, some of them got broken, of course. Oh, your mother had a bluebird mug.
Do you mean it might have been this very one?
Sure to have been. Now, don't you go thinking about it.
But I like thinking about it.
That's enough, dear. Now, finish your milk.
Oh, hurry up, hurry up. I want to paint.
No, you don't, Master Bill. We say grace first in this nursery. For what we have received, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Selfridges.
Why did you say that?
I always do.
He's a very naughty boy.
Come on, let's clear the table. You take the bread scraps.
Right.
Careful with that lift now. Take your plates, Miss Francie.
Very well.
I want to send. Come on, Guinevere. I'll give Cook a blow on the speaking tube.
Miss Scrap, will you help me?
Good morning, Cook. How's your varicose veins? Really? I'll be down. She's got her elastic stockings on.
Oh, really, Master Bill?
Right, down with the lift. There. Now we can get down to some painting. Fill that cup with water, Scrap.
All right.
Well, you won't get long for your painting. You'll be going out walking in no time.
Right.
I'll be back in quarter of an hour.
I may be going out with Great Aunt Belle. She wants to know what I said at school.
What did you say at school? He said, damn, blast, devil, hell, and strike me pink.
You beast, Francie. It's my language, I tell it. I said, swelp me, too.
Swelp you? What's it mean?
Something frightful.
I don't think much of it. I know a worse word than any of those.
You don't? What is it?
I couldn't tell you. It's too awful.
Oh, go on, Scrap.
Oh, she's just pretending. I'm not pretending. It's the most terrible word there is.
Well? Well, go on.
Go on, tell her.
Yes?
District nurse.
District nurse? But they put that on gate.
Oh, you silly baby. Everybody knows what district nurse means.
It might have a double meaning, Clancy.
Of course it hasn't.
No, I'm afraid you've got it wrong, Scrap. But I'll find out. I say, Flouncy, you've made this water filthy.
I haven't.
You can use any colours you like, Scrap, except cobalt blue. That's my special colour.
I don't want your beetle cobalt, and it is an awful word.
All right. I told you I'd find out. I'm putting my brush in my mouth. Over and over again. I'll probably die. Oh, hello, Mummy.
Isn't Nanny taking you for a walk?
Well, presently, we're just using my new paint box.
I say, that is a beauty. Far too good for the lad, Nicholas.
Oh, nonsense.
Do you know Scrap, Uncle Nicholas?
Yes, I looked in on her last night. Hello, Scrap.
Hello.
Oh, careful, Bill. You're running your trees into your sky. Give me the brush.
Hey! Oh.
There. Just save it. Look, you want to carry that blob of paint right down, like this.
Look, you can't have them all in black, Flouncy.
What?
No, give them some red buttons and red heels for their shoes. Now, here, punch up a bit.
Why don't you make that one a zebra?
Because it's a horse.
Oh, you can make a zebra with some white stripes, see? Look, we'll use some Chinese white. Give them some lovely stripes. Come on, Scrap.
All right.
I'll give them a jolly old red hat. Why don't you have a red hat, Marjorie?
Oh, half a minute, Ken. This is quite difficult.
Yes, marvellous.
Oh, hang on,
I don't just a second, Scrap. Why, just get under his stomach.
I often think I ought to have gone in for art.
There. I don't think that's too bad. Oh, there's a beauty on the next page.
Mummy, wouldn't you like to play the piano?
Hmm?
Oh, Mummy, darling, you smudged it. You are a clumsy old cow.
Never let me hear you use that word again.
What word? Clumsy?
No, cow. You must not call me a cow.
But you don't mind me calling you a donkey?
Well, I'm not really keen on it. And anyhow, cow's different. You must never call anyone a cow.
Can't I call a cow a cow?
You can call a cow, but you must never call a lady a cow. Now, go and get ready for your walk.
No, you'll understand when you're older, old chap. It's a sort of double meaning.
Golly, a nice little word like cow. Perhaps Scrap was right.
Eh?
District nurse. Mm-hmm. District nurse.
Well, what about the district nurse?
Don't you mind me saying it?
Not if it gives you any pleasure. It's very silly, of course.
Told you so, Scrap.
Now run along for your walk, all of you, or you'll keep Nanny waiting.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, Scrap. See you later.
Penny, how heavily you're breathing.
There. I've given the whole lot of them red hats.
Is that Mother calling? Oh, Penny, did I hear Mother?
I'm afraid so. She wants extra eggs from Malton's farm.
No, I'm damned if I'll go. There's no car road, and it's a sea of mud. Come on, Ken. We'll slip down the back stairs and hide in the greenhouse.
Good idea.
Don't give us away, Penny. I won't.
Good old Marjorie. She always was a champion job evader. I feel very well disposed towards the world.
Do you?
I wakened up feeling absolutely sunny.
Good. You were a bit on the morbid side last night.
Ah, that's all gone. I lay awake this morning smelling coffee and bacon being cooked and felt that things were exactly as they should be. Yes, I feel positively glowing with human kindness. What are you looking for?
Oh, some French chalk to make the drawing room floor slippery.
Oh, for the dance. Why will Mother give dances? Does she still insist on dance programs?
She does. They've got wedding bells on them.
Then I shall bag 6 dances and we'll sit out on the back stairs.
Last time I sat out on the back stairs, I got kissed on the ear.
Fanny, who by?
The curate with the wig.
I knew you had a past.
Oh, I know this stuff somewhere. This is a ridiculous cupboard for a nursery. I'll have to use the steps.
Well, that cupboard has its uses. The best toys were kept on the top shelf. Here, be careful.
Oh, you should have seen me washing all this paint yesterday. I'm very nifty on a stepladder.
I got marooned up there for an afternoon when I was about 4.
How do you mean?
Sit on the top of the cupboard.
Oh, all right.
The steps were about for spring cleaning, so up I went, and Cynthia came and moved them. So.
Oh, you poor kid. It's quite a long way.
It is. Come down, O maid, from yonder mountain height.
Oh, well, give me the steps.
What?
Oh, here, come on. I can't stop dallying here.
No, I think I'll go for a walk.
Oh, come on. All right. I'm going to jump.
No, Fanny. No, it is much too far. I'll help you down. Now.
Oh.
There. Has the curate with the wig left you with any inhibitions about being kissed on the ear?
I don't know.
Then you should find out.
Miss?
On the back stairs. Remember, it's an assignation.
Anything you want from the village, miss?
Oh, yes, Nanny. Try to get some French chalk.
French chalk, I'll try.
Let's go in the woods, Nanny.
Oh, well, me with a perambulator. Get along with you. Come along, children.
Take us in the woods, Uncle Nick.
Will you come, Penny?
Oh, I'm up to my eyes in jobs.
Come on. We'll give you a slip.
All right. Bye, Fanny.
Bye.
How do you see Nicholas?
Oh, he's gone with the children.
Oh. All right, Penny, you look so flushed.
I've never felt better in my life.
Has Nicholas just left here?
A second ago.
Oh, my dear.
What?
Penny, please don't think I mean to be officious, but I know how you feel about Nicholas. We all know.
What do you know?
Oh, my dear, don't look like that. There's nothing whatever to be ashamed of, but he's so thoughtless and... Well, I'm just not going to stand by and let you make a fool of yourself.
How dare you? And how dare you? How dare you?
Please don't speak to me like that. I'm terribly sorry I spoke. I've done it clumsily.
Yes, you have. Oh, how can everyone know? I never told anyone. Does he know?
No. You see, my dear, if he knew you cared for him, he'd be on his guard. He'd be careful not to. You know what I mean. But as it is,
Oh, I know him so well, Fanny. He's got such easy, affectionate manners. Any unsophisticated woman might think. You did. Didn't you, Fanny?
Please go away, Edna.
I wish I'd spoken earlier. All these wasted years slaving away in this house. You're intelligent, Fanny. You could have come up to London, got a good job.
Oh, what sort of job? I haven't any training, and I never wanted to come to London. Oh, I've been happy here. There's always been something to look forward to. Edna.
Yes.
You do know him terribly well, don't you? You'd be sure to know
If he cared for you. Fanny, he's confided in me for years, even over silly little temporary attachments. He wouldn't keep a thing like that from me.
No. I believe that.
How dense men are. I saw in a flash last night that you were getting the wrong impression. I'm desperately sorry for you. Will you let me pay for some training for you?
No.
You'll stop on here?
I don't know what I shall do. I ought to get on with my work. Mrs. Randolph will be wanting me.
Stay here a bit. I'll go and dance attendance on her. My dear, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I've been a fool. It was kindest to tell me.
You stay here quietly till you feel a little better.
Hello.
Oh, Cynthia, hello.
Where's the little scrap child?
Oh, they're all out walking.
I got some hot cakes from court. Like one?
No, thank you.
What's the matter?
Oh, it's nothing.
Penny, darling, whatever is it?
She said everyone knew.
Knew what?
Penny, another one.
Well, she'll have to want Hilda.
Penny's upset. Penny, dear, what's the matter?
Oh, is it Nicholas?
Oh.
He doesn't mean to be unkind.
He hasn't been unkind. Oh, you did know.
But you're fond of it. Oh, there's no harm in that, is there?
You didn't know, did you, Cynthia? You couldn't. You haven't been home for years.
I used to think you were a bit smitten with him.
Oh, has it been going on all these years?
Lord, how unhappy you must be.
I've never been unhappy. I've loved my life here. People have been good to me, and he's always been kind.
But only kind.
I suppose so, but just lately, last night and this morning, he was different somehow, and I thought... But I'm what Edna calls an unsophisticated woman. I've just made a fool of myself.
Do you mean Edna actually had the cheek to...
Oh, I think she meant it kindly. Perhaps Nicholas knows all the time and is just pitying me. She says he doesn't, but I expect she'll tell him.
Oh, no, she won't. We'll take care of that. Now, buck up, old thing.
I know. Oh, sorry I'm making such an ass of myself. Oh, Lord, I haven't cried for years. Oh, there are dozens of jobs waiting for me. Oh, if only she'd waited till after this weekend. How am I going to get through?
Oh, poor girl. Yes. What's up with Fanny?
Oh, come in a minute and close the door.
Right. Mother wants the bells on the dance program painted gold. It's a nice, peaceful job, and I'm going to take a long time.
Did you know Fanny was in love with Nicholas?
Yes, of course. Has she gone violent or something?
It's Edna. As far as I can make out, she's been warning Fanny off.
Oh, what damn cheek.
Is there anything between Nicholas and Edna?
Oh, good Lord, no. She's years older than he is.
She's managed to scare other women out of Nicholas's life pretty effectively. It's jolly convenient to have a good-looking young man to trot you around London.
Of course, he's always been very fond of Fanny.
Really fond?
Oh, not what you'd call fond. Well, she's just a piece of family furniture to him.
Oh, we must get her away from here. You could give her a job in your office, Hilda.
What do you suppose we do in my office? Make beds and mend stockings.
But she's terrified that Nicholas knows. Any girl with any pride...
I do see that.
Of course, I never had any pride. I just twined myself round Kenny. Well, if Nicholas does suspect, she must show him he's wrong. Tell her to flirt with all the lads in the village tonight. Tell you what, I'll lend her Kenny. Ken will carry on with anyone who crooks their little finger at him.
Don't you mind?
Oh, not in the least. I know what happens to husbands that don't carry on. You see nature in the raw at our golf club.
I wonder if she could carry it off.
Of course she can. She's got quite a bit of spirit. Well, it won't really take Nicholas in if he has spotted her, but she'll think it will. And then she can settle down to another 10 years patient adoration.
Oh, damn that blasted Edna.
Oh,
Hello, Scrap.
I didn't know there was anyone here.
Come in. Did you have a good walk?
Yes, thank you.
Come and sit by the fire.
I'm not cold, thank you. Are you going to wear that dress tonight?
No, it's Fanny's.
Why? I just thought it looked a nice sort of dress. It's a bit like one Mummy used to wear.
She always liked soft, pretty dresses.
Yes. Auntie Cynthia?
Yes, Scrap?
There was a photograph of her and you in dresses made exactly alike, with lots of frills on.
I remember. It was taken on our 21st birthday. We look quite a bit alike in that photograph.
Yes, I thought you did. But I suppose it was only the dresses. You're not a bit like her, really. That's funny, isn't it? I thought twins were always alike.
We were very much alike. In our thought. I missed her terribly when she married and went to Singapore. Do you still miss her? Or perhaps you'd rather not talk about it.
I think I would like to talk about it. Everyone seems to be frightened of mentioning her.
Oh, we don't want to upset you.
But it doesn't upset me. It brings her back a bit. That's why I wanted to come to this house, to see the things she used to see. I suppose I sound silly.
Not to me. I believe I am in exactly the same place that you are. A sort of limbo of the mind. Oh, that was stupid of me. You couldn't understand.
But I do know about limbo. It's in between heaven and hell. People there aren't happy and they aren't miserable. They just aren't anything. Why, of course, I see. That is it.
You're very intelligent.
I am in bits. Why are you in limbo, Auntie Cynthia?
I'm talking a lot of nonsense. Shall we play something? There used to be some games in this cupboard.
There's Ludo and Helmet and Snakes and Ladders.
Oh, is that a teddy bear there?
Yes.
Why, it's Simp.
Simp?
Oh, we called him that because he was extra sympathetic. We used to hug him whenever we were miserable, when we were in disgrace or the rabbits died, or when nobody understood us.
Did Mummy hug him?
We all did. Went on till we were quite big.
Is he still sympathetic?
Oh, he looks it to me. Are you Simp? Yes, of course he is. His fur used to get all sopping with tears. Oh, comfortable Simp. He must be over 30 years old. Yeah, there's your granny calling.
She does seem to call people rather a lot, doesn't she? Auntie Cynthia, will we ever get out of limbo?
You will, Scrap. I promise you by everything that ever was.
Then I promise you too.
Scrap, dear, your granny wants you.
Yes, I'm coming. Goodbye, Simp.
Hello, has old Simp turned up? Well, I've had a word with Edna.
What did she say?
Oh, all done from the highest motives.
Ah.
Felt it her duty, deeply upset. She's gone to bed with aspirin, if you please, while poor Richard Fenny's got to carry on as usual. However, she says Nicholas doesn't know, which is something.
I must tell Fanny.
Oh, I've told her.
Was she terribly relieved?
Well, of course. But she's still pretty nervous. She'll do anything on earth to put him off the scent. I offered her Kenneth, and she was very much obliged. And apparently there's a man in the village who's rather keen on her. He's coming tonight. A sort of gentleman chicken farmer.
I suppose you'd better give Kenneth a hint.
Oh, I shall tell him to give her a break. But I shan't tell him why. He won't need much encouraging.
Oh, Marjorie.
Baby's just dropping off. Nan is simply marvellous with him.
I wish we had you always, Nanny.
So do I, Mr. Hugh. I've been like a dog with two tails all this weekend.
Well, we couldn't afford you, even if Granny could spare you.
It is a shame. You're wasted here with no babies to handle. You'd think maybe I'd have lost the knack after all these years of housework. But get me in this old nursery again and it all comes back. I always had a way with babies. Even when I was 15, I could manage them better than old Nanny, who was here. Not that she'd admit it. I think I'll just sit by him till he's right off.
Bless you, Nanny, dear.
Happy, darling?
Very.
Good. So am I.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Mother.
Have you seen Nicholas anywhere?
Not for an hour or so. He was hunting for Fanny. I think she cut a dance or something.
I must say, I thought she was behaving a bit oddly, didn't you? Giggling and romping.
Poor girl.
Why poor? She seemed to be enjoying herself. Wonder if she's had a drop too much champagne. What a laugh.
Don't be so incredibly vulgar, Hugh.
Oh, really, Mother?
I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Good night.
Something wrong there.
Ought I to go after her?
No. She hates being fussed over. Shall we go down and dance again?
Yes, let's. Oh, hello, Kenneth.
Penny's feeling a bit done up. Thought it might be quiet up here.
Anything I can do?
Oh, no, thanks. I'm quite all right, really.
Well, don't make a row or you'll wake our offspring. Quiet as mice, old boy. No. Sit down and put your feet up.
Shall I?
Why not?
All right.
That's it. I say, what jolly little shoes. You're a bit of a Cinderella, you know. Turning up at the ball and cutting everyone else out. There.
Hey!
Now Cinderella's lost her slipper.
Oh, that's where the resemblance ends.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to hang about at midnight anyhow.
What for?
Didn't all her clothes fall off?
No, they just turned to rags.
Oh.
And next day she was back in the kitchen.
Ah. But then the prince rolled along.
I wonder if he kept chickens.
Huh? Oh, you mean that chap with the bald head you were carrying on with? I say, you haven't half been going it tonight.
You've been a bit of a surprise yourself.
Oh, you didn't mind me kissing you, did you?
No, did Marjorie tell you to?
Oh, heavens, no.
Didn't she tell you to be nice to me?
Well, she did tell me to dance with you a bit, but the rest had been entirely my own initiative.
I see.
I say, you won't tell, will you?
I promise.
Good girl. Do you think, that pretty little foot's ticklish at all?
What?
Ticklish?
No.
Ticklish, did you say? No?
Oh, no, Ken, don't.
No.
No. Oh, no, Ken, for goodness sake.
Oh. Sorry if I'm interrupting.
What?
Oh, Nicholas.
I hate to seem fussy, but you've cut 4 dances with me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost my program anyway. I can't dance anymore. I'm too hot.
So it would appear.
Hey, shut up in here, can't you? You'll wake the infant.
I'll just go and put some powder on.
Marjorie was looking for you, Kenneth.
Oh, was she? I suppose I'd better go and report. Thanks.
I've been reading to the kids. It's hopeless to expect them to sleep at a dance in the house.
And what a dance. Half the village seems to be here. Did you notice Fanny?
I thought she looked very pretty.
Oh, she always looks quite pretty. Good Lord, I think she must have gone a bit dotty tonight. She's danced 6 times running with that frightful chicken farmer.
There's no law against it.
But you should have seen her. Giggling and flirting. And just now with Kenneth.
She doesn't get many parties. I don't blame her for enjoying herself.
Oh, well, I suppose the poor little devil doesn't know any better. Honey, I could have sworn she had a natural dignity.
Nicholas, do you like Fanny?
Of course I like her. That's why it's rather painful to see her making an ass of herself. Do we all like her? She's a family institution.
Ah, yes. I think we ought to go down.
I suppose so.
Now, for heaven's sake, why aren't you young things dancing?
Feeling rather mature, aren't we?
What was that?
Nonsense. We have it done ourselves, didn't we, Charles?
Now we're going to indulge in a little sitting art. Ah, the beautiful blue Danube.
Oh, yes. Do you remember the dancing class, Tin?
Fan, mittens and bronze sandals, and you boys skulking in the corner.
Come on, we'll show them.
Oh, all right.
The blue Danube. They played it at our dancing classes, too.
And the dance your mother gave for us bridesmaids the night of your wedding.
Ah, I missed that. I rather think I was on the English Channel, thanking God I'd married a good sailor.
That was the night I accepted your brother William. There didn't seem to be any point in going on refusing him. Did you know about me then, Charles, or not till afterwards?
I think I always knew.
You know, there's something rather luxurious in being able to sit back and tell a man you've been in love with him for 50 years. I guess I'm entitled to some sort of golden anniversary myself.
My dear Belle.
You've never written your book, Charles, or gone into Parliament. All the things you planned as a boy.
Yeah, I've never done any of them.
You would have done if you'd married me.
I wonder. You know, you women are much too fond of fancying you can make geniuses of men. And anyway, there are far too many books written and far, far too many people in Parliament.
Now, don't pretend, Charles. You had great gifts.
Not really, Belle. You see, when I came to have a little leisure to explore the minds of other men, I found that everything I wanted to say had been said by someone else. I was always expecting to get some epoch-making new idea, but I never did. I think I might have had a shot at politics. But there are so many far more important things to do.
What things?
Well, there have been children to play with, dogs to take walks, gardens to plan, neighbors to visit.
And you call these things important?
I do indeed. I call the sum total of any man's happiness important.
Have you been happy, Charles?
So happy that I'm sometimes tempted to erect a statue to myself. I should like people to be reminded that happiness isn't quite obsolete. Have you been happy, Belle?
That's rather a cruel question.
Nonsense. Now confess. Now, you haven't given me a thought for years.
I've thought of you every day of my life, and I'm not ashamed to own it.
Well, you never did have a proper sense of shame. You were a baggage at 7, and you're a baggage at 70.
Do you really think that? Did you think it 30 years ago, after William died?
I'd certainly every cause to. You came very near to breaking up this happy home, you know.
No, never that.
Then shall we say to putting rather a blot on the escutcheon.
But I didn't manage it.
No, you didn't manage.
Oh, don't gloat so. You were always cruel to me.
Because you were a challenge and a menace. And always will be.
Oh, Charles.
Oh, my dear, I was teasing you.
Oh, I find one's never too old to be hurt.
Oh, God bless my soul. You preposterous woman. 2 husbands, and Lord knows how many sidelines. And just because one poor country lout managed to resist you. No, I won't sentimentalize with you. What you need's a stiff whiskey. Come on.
Oh, here you are. Why, Belle, dear.
We've been talking over old times. Poor William, you know.
Of course. Poor William. Yes, and your other husband, your American husband, what was his name?
Elmer.
Poor Elmer. How I wish they could both be here. Though I suppose that wouldn't be quite practicable. Get her a good, strong drink, Charles.
I was suggesting it.
I'll be with you in a minute, dear, but I just want to have a word with Nanny.
Oh, I'm a silly old woman.
That's the first time I've ever seen you cry, Belle.
And it'll be the last. Lead me to that whiskey.
Are you all asleep, Nanny? Miss Scrap is. The other 2 are beyond human control. They've gone down to get some more supper out of cook.
Good gracious. Well, it's a very special occasion. You'd better make the fire up in case any of them are ill in the night.
Yes, Mum.
Not finding it too much for you, are you, Nanny?
Oh, indeed, no, Mum. It's a great pleasure. It's been like old times, having them all to look after.
How long have you been with us, Nanny?
47 years, Mum.
Oh.
And I came as nursemaid when Mr. Peter was 6 months old. He was the best baby of them all. And his little grandson's just like him.
My dear Peter.
We shall see him again, Mum.
Of course we shall.
I've been thinking of him a lot this evening. And I keep on remembering you in that blue dressing gown with the little white bows, whisking in and out like you used to at night when any of them were ill, with your pretty fair hair down your back.
Fancy you remembering that. What a long time we've been friends, Nanny. And now you must go to bed, because Baby will wake you early.
Yes, Mum.
Good night, Nan. And thank you for all those years. Sleep well.
Thank you, Mum. Good night.
Hello, dear.
Is Belle all right now?
Yeah, she's doing up her face.
Poor Belle. She's as much in love with you as ever. At her age.
Aren't you in love with me?
I hope I don't make eyes at you. That must have been the last dance.
Yeah.
I told them to play those old waltzes at the end. People like them.
Yes. By the way, did you notice Fanny tonight?
Indeed, I did. Mark my words, that chicken farmer is going to propose.
Good Lord. She wouldn't accept it.
Well, he isn't nearly good enough for her, but every woman likes to marry. You could lend him a little capital. Oh, dear. I haven't spoken to Cynthia yet. Whole day wasted. I must tackle it tomorrow.
It's tomorrow now. Our golden wedding day.
Many, many congratulations.
And to you, my love.
Charles.
Yes?
I know it isn't really the right moment, but, something Nanny was saying.
Yes, my dear?
It's something we haven't discussed for years. Has religion ever gotten it clearer to you?
No, my dear. I don't think it has.
I was afraid not. You still don't believe there's anything after life?
Well, I used to be sure there was nothing.
Yes?
Now, I'm not sure of anything.
Oh, but that's a very definite improvement.
Dora, are you quite sure about heaven?
Utterly and completely sure.
Then I find that more convincing than anything. You see, my dear, in all our discussions for the last 50 years, you have invariably been right. Bless you. Oh, hello. They're playing Sir Roger.
Oh, yes. Yes, it's been a good party, I think.
Yeah, we must go down, dear.
Yes, we must.
Large glasses, Marjorie. Better put them out. Mother likes plenty of glass.
I do so loathe this job. Gertrude could do it in half the time.
We always have labour tables for family parties, and we always shall. It's sort of right.
There's the napkins. I'll put them on the sideboard.
Oh, thank you, Gertrude.
Mistress says, will you please make them into water lilies?
Water lilies.
Oh, this mustard's not fresh. I better make some more.
These flowers aren't up to much. Everyone seems to think great tall things.
Good gracious, what do you do with a dreadful old Epergne? We haven't used it for years.
Oh, Mother. And I've been simply wrestling with it.
Put it away, dear, and we'll have the cut glass bowl instead.
A cut glass? I'd better go and see how the children are getting on.
Oh, Marjorie.
Yes.
Can you absolutely guarantee that when your father says grace tonight, Bill will not say selfish?
I'll see what I can do. Oh, I don't think there's much more I can do.
The napkins, dear.
Oh, I never could do water lilies.
Then I'll do them and you shall sit and talk to me. They're on the sideboard, dear.
I ought to be dressing.
There's plenty of time yet. This is the last chance of a chat we shall have, if you really insist on going tomorrow.
I'm afraid I must. Here they are.
Yeah, put them here, dear. Oh, I must think how to do a water lily. Now sit down, darling. You know, you need a holiday. You're looking tired.
Not really. Just old, I expect.
Nonsense. You're a young woman.
37.
I think that's a charming age. Don't waste it, my dear.
Waste it?
Cynthia, dear, I've been trying to talk to you all this weekend. You're not happy.
Yes, I am, Mother. Perfectly happy.
But anyone can see that you're not. Of course, your father and I have realized for years
that there are things in your life you don't want us to know about. We should never dream of trying to force your confidence. But don't stay away for another 7 years, because it really isn't necessary.
Mother, you're just imagining things.
Nonsense, dear.
Did Edna tell you?
I shouldn't dream of gossiping about you with Edna. But I do know no woman of your temperament who doesn't marry could have spent all those years in Paris in, well, shall we say, a strictly conventional manner.
Don't you mind?
I can't think anything you could do quite terrible enough to make me want to lose touch with you.
Wasn't very terrible. We'd have been married if we could have been.
Is he French?
No, English. His wife is French.
She won't divorce him.
No. It's over, Mother. He went back to her. I expect she got tired of him.
My dearest child.
Oh, I'm all right. It knocked me out for a bit, but I'm over it now.
And is this all that's kept you away from us? For 7 years?
I suppose so. Oh, Mother, how you've changed. You used to be so strict in your ideas.
I had 4 daughters to bring up. But I have changed. Well, there wouldn't be much point in living to be 70 if one didn't.
I always did like you better than any woman I ever met.
My dear. Must you go back to Paris?
I finished with Paris. I can go to Raquel's London house if I like, or I think she'd send me to America.
Why not come home for a little while, dear?
You mean just stay on?
Well, only for a short time, of course. We'd never try to keep you. But just for a little holiday. You used to be so fond of the autumn, and we could slip up to town for some theatres and concerts. But you remember our little jaunts. And if you could stay till spring, it's so very beautiful here. Spring never gets any older, you know. Very well, my dear. I won't press it, of course. I just thought that you might like it.
I think I'd like it more than anything in the world.
You mean you'll stay?
If you really fancy an elderly prodigal daughter.
Oh.
Darling, you're trembling and you sounded so calm.
Well, I was just a little nervous.
Mother.
Good gracious, now don't start to cry or you'll simply wreck your face.
Oh, yes.
Now hurry up and dress.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right, Fanny. Come along, Cynthia. We'll have a glass of sherry.
Yes.
Penny, dear, will you do the water lilies? I'm afraid I wasn't quite concentrating.
Yes, of course.
Penny? Penny? Oh, there you are. I took a telephone message for you about half an hour ago. I couldn't find you anywhere.
I was dressing.
Your charming chicken farmer friend wants you to take tea with him tomorrow at 4:30 at his delightful bungalow so appropriately called The Nest.
Thank you.
Shall you go?
If I can be spared. It'll be quiet when you've all gone. Yes, I think I shall go.
What fun. You have such good taste in men.
Is that meant to be rude?
Yes, I think it is. Good Lord. What's the matter with you, Fanny?
What do you mean?
Encouraging this poor wretched man. Before you know where you are, he'll be proposing to you.
Is that a crime?
Oh, perhaps he's proposed already. Gods, I believe he has. Are you going to accept him?
I haven't made up my mind.
You're not serious?
Oh, certainly I am, and it's none of your business.
It's the business of the whole family. We've known and liked you for 10 years. The man's a common little bounder.
I don't think so.
I suppose you were playing Kenneth off against him last night to bring him up to the scratch. I can't think why you left me out. I should have been delighted to help. Good Lord, I couldn't have believed you'd have made yourself so cheap.
Please go away.
Dressing up and giggling and flirting. And if you're going to use rouge, you'd better learn to use it properly.
I am not using rouge.
You were last night. If you want to know, you look like an elderly schoolgirl.
Oh.
What a damnable thing to say. I'm sorry, Fanny. It wasn't true, anyhow. You look very pretty. I've hurt you, haven't I? Do you remember wondering if I could be cruel?
You said you never could be to me.
Listen, my dear, there must be something behind this that I don't understand. Are you thinking of marriage as a safeguard for the future?
It's got nothing to do with that.
Then what the devil is it? Oh, good Lord, I believe Edna was right.
What do you mean?
She said once that most women would rather marry anyone than no one.
I haven't made up my mind to marry him.
I can't conceive how you could even let him propose. Oh, Lord, let's chuck it or I shall be rude again. Oh, somehow the very thought of it makes my blood boil. I'm sorry I've been so insulting.
That's all right. Are you going to do the grand toast tonight?
I suppose so. Never felt less like it. Funny that, I usually rather enjoy it. Now I better walk round the garden, try to mug something up. You're making an awful mess of those napkins.
You have been a little distracting.
Poor old Fanny. You will marry him, of course. Otherwise you'd never have let him on. Well, you must see something in him. Lord, I couldn't be more disappointed in anyone.
Hello, Penny. Oh, what is it, my dear? Got a headache?
Oh, I can't bear it any longer. Oh, couldn't you say I was ill? Oh, this long evening to go through.
Penny, our golden wedding evening.
I'm sorry, but I can't stand any more. How could he? How could he?
Nicholas, of course.
Oh, everyone knows.
He certainly doesn't.
No. That's the one bit of comfort there is. Mr. Randolph, please tell me, was I vulgar and silly last night?
You were a little skittish.
Oh, he was so cruel.
Cruel?
Oh, but it's not his fault. And you see, he was so disappointed in me, and I've got to go on pretending to be what he thinks I am now, never to let him see what
Why?
Pride, I suppose.
Oh, I see. Is pride worth all that trouble? I never had any myself, of course. Now, pull yourself together, my dear. If you really want to go to bed, you'd better go at once. I'll make your excuses.
No, I couldn't. Not your golden wedding dinner. I'll be all right. I'll go and do my face.
Was Nicholas really unkind?
Terribly. He's always been so sweet to me.
Yes, I see.
Do you think I could marry Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones?
You know, at the chicken farm.
Good gracious. I should hardly have said so.
I don't think so either. I don't even like him.
Dear me. Poor Fanny.
Oh, Charles, I've been looking for you. My dear, it's all right.
What is?
Cynthia.
Ah.
I had it out with her. And really, it's nothing terrible. Well, of course it is. But times change, and anyhow, it's over, and she's staying on indefinitely. And she'll be able to help me with Scrap, as her father's marrying again.
Yeah,
Well, I had a letter from him yesterday. I told you. Oh, didn't I? Oh, well, I meant to. He wants us to take sole charge for the time being, and she's taken a tremendous fancy to Cynthia. Oh, dear.
What?
I was thinking how terribly shocked my dear mother would have been about Cynthia. She had such rigid principles.
Yes.
Yes. But it's better to lose a principle than to lose a daughter. Oh, dear, I've had 3 glasses of sherry. Yes, with Cynthia to cheer her up. Oh, there's the dressing gone.
Yes. I must just have a word with Nicholas.
Well, don't be long, dear. Dinner in half an hour.
Now then, Nicholas.
Come on, Uncle Nick. Everyone.
We're an abstemious family, both in drink and speeches. We make one speech and drink one family toast at Christmas, at New Year, and at all our family gatherings. So we've always done, right back, I believe, into great-grandfather's day. But tonight, wondering what I should say to you, it seemed to me another toast was called for. And none of my generation remembers a golden wedding in this house. And indeed, I think they're rarer throughout the world in these days of later marriage and earlier divorce. It's a great occasion for us all, and one I felt which could well warrant a break with our tradition. And so I planned a separate toast for father and mother on their golden wedding day. And then I knew this could not be, for they are the family, and never for any occasion shall they be separated from it in our thoughts. We've already given them our presents, good wishes, and our love, which indeed is always theirs. And now this golden wedding is no longer theirs alone, but ours to share with them. And so, once more, I shall propose grand toast to our family. Wandering round the garden just now, I was trying to remember when I first proposed this toast.
It was the year our father had laryngitis.
1919.
Oh, no.
Well, whatever the year, I know I felt very young and nervous. I'd mugged up 3 quotations and 2 funny stories, which I meant to tell with exquisite point. And when the moment came, I didn't use any of them. Perhaps the patron saint of family gatherings came to my aid. If so, I hope he may come again tonight. For again, nothing that I planned seems quite right. I haven't even a quotation. I couldn't make a joke to save my life. It came to me suddenly, just now, that a family gathering like this is no joking matter. One hears so many jokes against families. The family quarrels, family jealousies, family tyrannies. Always the family is either the villain or the clown of the piece. Well, the clown shall stand, for clowns are likeable folk, but not the villain. And for me, at least, tonight it shall play the hero. And it does possess heroic qualities. How else is it survive? It no longer has the power of a tyrant. Who today ever feels any real family authority? Even the children do exactly what they want.
Oh, look, that's not fair.
Well, near enough for you two. I mean, look at you, interrupting your aged uncle's touching speech. No reverence, no awe. But I bet you'll make as good a family man as any of us do. We grumble at our families. We treat them as a bad joke. And we hear on every hand that family ties are slackening. And yet we pack the trains at Christmas going home.
Yes, indeed.
A sense of duty only? I wonder. We're a very ordinary family. We own no crests, no heirlooms, and our few ancestors are very badly painted. I wonder what they would think of us. Great-grandfather over there with his twinkle, and grandmama, who wasn't quite as fierce as that, but she was a little fierce. I think she might shake her head and say, the family isn't what it was. And there, most honoured grandmama, lies its strength. It is, like nearly every British institution, adaptable. It bends, it stretches, but it never breaks. And so I give you our toast. From that young man upstairs who's had the impudence to make me a great uncle, to mother and father on their golden wedding, through 4 generations of us, and to those who've gone, and those who are to come, to the family, that dear octopus from whose tentacles we never quite escape, nor in our inmost hearts ever quite wish to. Ladies and gentlemen, grand toast. Grand toast.
Bravo, Nicholas.
Very good indeed, my boy.
I've never heard you so emotional. Well, we liked it, didn't we, Scrap?
I rather query one of your similes.
Discuss it in the drawing room, will you, dear? Gertrude will be on the rampage. Penny?
Yes?
Get the maid Scott.
Yes, of course. I think you should have replied, Charles.
No, thank you, Belle. One speech is enough.
All you want to do now, old man, is to start a family for yourself.
Oh, hello.
Father forgot his glasses.
Oh, they're here.
Still angry with me?
You were the angry one.
Shall we make it up?
If you like. Doesn't matter, anyhow.
Matters to me. Friends?
Of course. You know, don't you?
Yes.
Did Edna tell you?
No.
Who did then? Oh, I know, your father.
Yes.
He said pride wasn't important. He was right. I think I'm rather glad, you know. Oh, how queer. I used to think it would be the end of the world. You don't mind terribly, do you? It needn't worry you or embarrass you. After tonight, we'll never refer to it again.
Will you marry me, Fanny? What? Will you marry me?
No. Oh, how could you? I can't help loving you. I'm not ashamed of it. It's been my secret happiness for years, but to say that to me when I know it's meaningless... Sorry. I expect you mean to be kind, but pity can be very humiliating.
Don't be a juggins, dear. Men don't propose out of pity.
Do you mean you're in love with me?
I really love you, Fanny. You don't believe me?
I don't know. Oh, you are a truthful person, but surely you couldn't find that out suddenly just because your father told you just in an hour or two.
Almost in a flash. Listen, I believe I've been in love with you for years and never realized it. And then, after we'd been sitting by the fire the other evening, something Edna said, quite inadvertently, made me see you as a different person. And do you remember in the nursery, Fanny? You on the cupboard?
Yes.
I think I almost knew I loved you then. Last night, you and your goings-on with Kenneth and that wretched chicken farmer, I could cheerfully have killed a lot of you. And I'm very much ashamed of myself. Now, I suppose I was just plain jealous.
Oh, how glorious.
Loathsome things I said to you. You'll never see a worse side of me than you've seen this weekend. The teething stage of love is very confusing.
Oh, Nicholas. Was that speech you made just now sincere? You've never made a speech like that before.
No, I couldn't have done. Never in my life. That speech was not only to the family, but to our future. Oh, Fanny. Darling.
Oh. What, me? Kissing!
Bill, Fanny's going to marry me.
Is she? Crikey, I am pleased. That beastly flounce is not going to tell this one. No, wait, no, not yet.
My dear, you'll never muzzle that.
Listen, everyone. Nicholas and Fanny are engaged.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on, then.
In Dear Octopus by Dodie Smith. Adapted for radio by Cynthia Pugh. The parts of Dora and Charles Randolph were played by Gwen Franken Davis and Robert Harris. Fanny was played by Lisa Harrow and Nicholas by Martin Jarvis. Belle Schlesinger was played by Barbara Cooper, Edna Randolph, Irene Sutcliffe, Hugh, Tim Bentinck, Laurel, Greta Gourier. Hilda, Monica Gray, Cynthia, Joe Manning Wilson, Marjorie Harvey, Eva Haddon, and Kenneth, Garrard Green. Bill was played by Elizabeth Lindsay, Flouncy, Susan Sheridan, Scrap, Bernadette Windsor, Nanny, Margot Boyd, and Gertrude, Janet Burnell. The play was directed by David H. Godfrey.
Calvin Hobbes stars as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, with Graham Armitage as Alfred Wood, In Roger Wadditz's dramatization, Conan Doyle investigates.
A macabre, unbelievable story, this. But it all happened. My name is Wood, Alfred Wood. In 1906, shortly before Christmas, some papers arrived on my desk at Hindhead in Surrey. They were addressed to my employer, for whom I worked as secretary. His name was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. At that time, Sir Arthur was still grieving over the death of his wife, Louise, who had died several months previously after a long illness. He was sick with despair, unable to work. But the routine of life went on. I took the papers and the morning mail into him. Good morning, Sir Arthur.
Good morning, Alfred.
Hi, I think we're in for snow.
It started. Snowflakes. She loved to watch them.
Quite a correspondence this morning, sir. Close on 70 letters.
Oh, yes?
There's one from Rudyard Kipling. He says he read Sir Nigel in one gulp.
Did he?
Here we are. From cover to cover I read it, and I put it down, still hungry for more.
That's more than the critics said.
Oh, a good many of the reviews have been very laudatory, sir. I think it'll find its way into the bestseller list.
I doubt it, Alfred. The public seem to think I shouldn't be writing historical novels. They see me as the creator of Sherlock Holmes and nothing more.
Well, it's true a lot of these letters are about Holmes. They want more stories.
They've had the return of Sherlock Holmes. That should content them.
Evidently not, sir. I don't think Holmes can ever die again. He can only retire.
Yes, he's been condemned to life. Oh, well, I suppose I'd better deal with these. Is there anything of a special interest here?
Yes, sir. There's a man who asked for your help. He sent some press cuttings. They're near the top of the pile.
The Umpire? I've never heard of it. Idalgi protests his innocence. Who is this man, Idalgi?
George Idalgi, sir. He's just come out of prison. He served 3 years for killing a horse, but claims he was wrongly convicted.
Does he indeed? Leave these papers with me, Alfred. I'd like to study them.
That was how it started. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the world's most famous writer of detective stories, suddenly found himself face to face with a real-life mystery, more bizarre than anything even he had penned. He read every word of the 6 lengthy articles George Idalgi had written in the weekly paper, The Umpire.
Alfred! Alfred!
Sir?
Have you read these cuttings?
No, sir. Only glanced at them.
They're incredible. If this man is telling the truth, and I believe he is, it's an appalling story. 3 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit and then released without a pardon.
You mean he's still considered guilty?
As far as society is concerned, yes.
That's pretty hard, sir.
Look, I want you to get hold of all the available documents in the case, press reports and so on, especially of the trial. I shall write to anyone who can testify, but first of all to Idalgi. Either he's guilty or he's not. If he is, he deserves every day of his 7 years, his original sentence. If he is not, then we must have apology, pardon, and restitution.
It could almost be a Holmes story, sir.
No, Alfred. This goes far beyond the invention of any writer of detective fiction. And there's a real human being on the rack here. Now, we're in the presence of an appalling tragedy, and I feel called upon to do what I can to set it right.
And so, in 1906, Conan Doyle took up the case of George Idalgi, a case that had brought misery and despair to a harmless family living in Great Wireley, an agricultural and mining village 6 miles from Walsall in Staffordshire. The head of the family was the Reverend Shapperji Idalgi, an Indian who had become a Church of England clergyman. He was married to an Englishwoman, Charlotte. They had a daughter, Maud, and their son, George, was a solicitor with a practice in Birmingham. But their suffering goes back many years before. In 1892, the persecution began, and it went on for 3 years. A flood of anonymous letters arrived at various homes in the district, but above all, at the vicarage.
This one's about me. I swear by God that I will murder George Idalgi soon. The only thing I care about in this world is revenge, revenge, revenge. Sweet revenge I long for. Then I shall be happy in hell.
No, oh no.
There's more, Mother. Every day, every hour, my hatred is growing against George Idalgi. May the Lord strike me dead if I don't murder him.
Dear God.
Listen to this one. Do you think, you Pharisee, that because you are a parson, God will absolve you from your iniquities? To hell with your damned wife and your horrid little girl. I will descend into the infernal region shouting curses upon you all.
Now there,
Why?
darling.
Why?
Don't Maud. It's all right.
It is worse than 4 years ago. I thought we had seen the end of it.
Worse than 4 years ago. In 1888, threatening anonymous letters had been received at the vicarage. Abusive writings about the Adalgys were found scrawled on buildings and outhouses. But the later letters were different. The earlier ones had been ribald. These were malignant, filled with diabolical hatred for the Adalgys and a passionate, not to say religious, admiration for the local police.
The following in this district we love truly. The police of Cannock in general, and Sergeant Upton in particular. Hurrah for Upton, good old Upton, dear old Upton, blessed Upton. Stand up for Upton, ye soldiers of the cross. Lift high your royal banner, it must not suffer loss.
Then came the hoaxes, senseless, practical jokes which went on for 3 years. One said that the vicarage was to be let for the most dubious purposes. Another described the Reverend Adalgy as a matrimonial agent with a number of ladies on his books whose charms were catalogued in realistic detail. But it was the curious incident of the key stolen from Walsall Grammar School which brought matters to a head. On December the 12th, 1892, Sergeant Upton interviewed the Reverend Adalgy.
You say you found this key on your doorstep?
Yes, Sergeant.
And you've no idea how it came there?
None at all.
Why do you think anyone should steal a key from Walsall Grammar School and leave it at the vicarage?
I cannot imagine.
You cannot imagine. Your son George now, he doesn't go to Walsall?
No, Sergeant, he is at Rugeley School, but that is 6 or 7 miles from
I
Walsall.
know how far it is.
I cannot believe you are suggesting that my...
I didn't say that.
Why should George do that? Why should he steal this key from Walsall and bring it all the way back and put it on his own
It's
doorstep?
my job to ask the questions, sir. And find the right answers, and we'll find them, never fear.
Sergeant Upton made a report, which duly came before Captain the Honourable George Alexander Anson, Chief Constable of Staffordshire.
About this key business, Sergeant, sir. You make it pretty clear in this report who you think the culprit is.
Yes, sir.
What sort of fellow is he, young George Adalgy?
Well, he's, funny looking, sir.
Funny? In what way?
It's his eyes, sir. Now, they sort of bulge. And when he looks at you, he doesn't seem to see you. Stares right through you as if you weren't there.
Anything else?
He's very dark.
Huh?
He's Indian, sir. Well, half, anyway.
So I believe. His father's vicar of Great Wiley?
That's right, sir. Now, he's full Indian.
And married to an English woman?
Yes, sir.
There's no hard evidence against young Adalgy, I suppose?
Nothing that'll carry much weight in court, sir.
A pity.
Mind you, sir, he could have done it. There don't seem to be any other likely suspects.
It's just a feeling you have about him?
You could put it like that, sir.
Well, that's all policemen have to go on most of the time. Their instinct.
Yes, sir.
Right. Well, that's all, Sergeant. Thank you. January the 23rd, 1893. To the Reverend S. Adalgy, the Vicarage, Great Wiley, Staffs. Will you please ask your son George from whom the key was obtained, which was found on your doorstep on December the 12th?
The key was stolen. But if it can be shown that the whole thing was due to some idle freak or practical joke, I should not be inclined to allow any police proceedings to be taken in regard to it.
What does he mean, Father?
We shall see, George. Captain Anson goes on. If, however, the persons concerned in the removal of the key refuse to make any explanation of the subject, I must necessarily treat the matter in all seriousness as theft.
What is he getting at?
I may say at once that I shall not pretend to believe any protestations of ignorance which your son may make about this key.
Father, I'm not a thief. I didn't steal that key. Why does he make these accusations?
I wish I knew, my son.
The anonymous letters and the hoaxes continued for another 2 years.
Just because you pretend to be learning about law, you think you can play your dirty tricks and everybody keep quiet. But you'll get caught because the police
is watching you. Don't you know that, you black swine?
At the end of 1895, the letters and hoaxes were suddenly switched off. Peace came to Great Wiley, and it lasted for 7 years, during which time George had become a solicitor and opened a practice in Birmingham. Then, in 1903...
Someone's killed my cow. They've done 2 of my sheep. A mare in hole, ripped up the belly.
Now the victims were harmless animals, savagely mutilated. And with these outrages came more anonymous letters. Some of them bore the forged signature of a local schoolboy called Gretorix, who was away in the Isle of Man when they were written. But the name of Gretorix was to acquire a special significance later in the story. Madness ran through all these letters. One of them contained a threat which spread terror throughout the village.
There will be merry times at Wiley in November when they start on little girls. For they will do 20 wenches like the horses before next March.
The police have got to do something. Go and see her. Come on, we're going to see Sergeant Robinson. Let's all go. Now. What's all this?
Well, look at this letter. Now they're talking of killing little girls.
We want the swine's court. Now, what are you doing about it, Sergeant? We've got men looking for them every night.
Yes, but it's been going on for 6 months.
Oh, easy. We'll get them. Don't you worry.
A letter for the sergeant.
Sergeant Robinson, you bloated blackguard. I will shoot you with father's gun through your thick head. If you're coming my way, I'll go sneaking to any of my pals.
Dozens of police were drafted into Wiley from all over Staffordshire. It was almost impossible to move about the fields without bumping into policemen, both in and out of uniform. Some were disguised as colliers. Others adopted an even more elaborate disguise. One night, a young girl, returning home from a dance in Cannock, stumbled over a dark object as she was crossing a field.
Who's there? What is it?
It was a horse, or rather a pantomime horse, and the horse spoke.
Hurry along, madam. We're police officers.
In the end, the whole exercise degenerated into chaos. Gangs of young lads poured into Great Wiley from Rugeley, Stafford, and Birmingham to mock the hapless constables. Many of them spent a night cooling off in the cells at Cannock, but no one was arrested for cattle maiming. It was at this stage that Captain Anson took personal charge of operations.
Inspector Campbell?
Sir.
We don't seem to be getting anywhere on this business at Great Wiley.
We're doing all we can, sir.
It's not good enough, Inspector. Nowhere good enough. I want action, so does the public.
I know. Feeling's running pretty high, sir.
Pretty high? How many men do you have at Wiley, Inspector?
12, sir, including specials. We had to get a couple from Bridgetown. We're pretty stretched.
Make it 20, even if it means taking men off their other duties.
Yes, sir.
You're watching the vicarage?
Yes, sir, every night.
That's where we'll get our man. I'm convinced of it.
You mean that darky, sir?
Yes. I'm damn sure he's behind the killings and those anonymous letters. Oh, they can become lawyers and parsons and doctors, but underneath it all, they're still primitive savages.
It makes you wonder, sir.
Well, you know what to do, Inspector. Get after George Adalji. I want an arrest.
A round-the-clock vigil was kept on the vicarage from the nearby cemetery. Police, hiding behind tombstones, watched every coming and going. At night, cotton was trailed right round the house and examined in the morning to see if it had been broken. It never was. Then, on the morning of August the 18th, 1903, Henry Garrett, a young miner, was crossing a field on his way to work at the Great Wiley Colliery.
Oh, my. Help! Help! Over here! Hey, what is it, lad? Look. The pony. They've done the pony. Well, I got ripped up the belly, just like the others. All the blood. I know, lad. And I think it's still alive, poor creature. Let her be shot. Oh, I know what I'd like to do. I'd like to... Who's shouting? What's up? Over here, Constable. Oh, what's all the... Oh, my. Another one. Now, you find him? Yeah. The madman. Mad beggar. Oh, we'll get him. The 8th in 6 months. But we'll get him. Now then, where's my whistle?
2 hours later, at the vicarage, the Reverend Adalji was having breakfast with his wife and daughter.
You're You're not eating, dear.
I seem to have no appetite, Charlotte.
You're not unwell.
Oh, no, but I am not hungry. There's nothing to be disturbed about.
You're worried, aren't you, Father? All these terrible things happening.
It has been a strain for everyone, Maud. We must bear it with fortitude.
I wish it were all over. Get on with your breakfast, Maud. Who could that be? It's barely 8 o'clock.
I am expecting no one.
A parishioner, perhaps?
It is possible.
Oh, well, I'll go.
No, Charlotte. I will go.
Do you think it is a parishioner, Mamma? Can't imagine who else.
This way, please. It is the police, dear.
Inspectors Campbell, Staffordshire County Constabulary, Sergeant Robinson, Constable Harris.
My wife, Charlotte, and
How do
this
you
is my daughter, Maud.
Where is your son, George?
He has left for business. He practices as a solicitor in Birmingham.
He always catches the 7:30 train. But what's wrong, Inspector? Why do you want to see him?
Another animal was cut up last night, a colliery pony, not half a mile from here.
Oh, no.
What has this to do with George?
Perhaps you could tell me something of your son's movements last evening.
He came home from his office in Birmingham at the usual time, about 6:30. He brought some papers home with him to work on. He often does.
And he stayed in all night?
No.
He went out again, did he?
Yes, but...
What time would that be?
Well, I'm not sure, Inspector. I was working in my study. Charlotte, did...
It was shortly after 8 o'clock. He said he was going to the bootmaker's at Bridgetown.
He said he was going there?
Well, I'm sure he did go there.
That can be confirmed if we could have the bootmaker's name.
Oh, excuse me, sir. It's John Hand. I know because I take my boots there for repair.
Right, Constable. Perhaps you'd ask him to corroborate.
Yes, sir.
Not now, man.
No, sir. Sorry, sir.
Now, sir. What time did your son return home from his trip to the bootmaker's?
I am not sure.
I remember, Father. It was about 9:25.
How can you be sure of the exact time, miss?
I was in the hall when he came in. He asked me whether we had started supper yet, and I said no, we'd be having it in a few minutes. We usually eat at 9:30.
And did you last night?
Yes.
And after supper, did your son go out again?
No. We talked for a little while, and then we went to bed.
Inspector, why are you asking all these questions? My son has done nothing wrong. He is a man of respect, a member of the legal profession.
Reverend Edalji, a serious crime has been committed. It's my duty to make inquiries, and you will all be helping me in the performance of that duty by answering some of my questions. Now, madam, I understand you to say that your son, George Edalji, retired to bed sometime after supper. It's possible, is it not, that he left the house again sometime later without you knowing?
No, Inspector. Quite impossible.
Why do you say that?
Because he sleeps in the same room as I do.
Is that your normal practice?
Yes. It has been so for about 17 years.
My daughter, Maud, here, has been in delicate health since she was a child. I sleep with her in case she should need me during the night.
I see.
I am a light sleeper. I suffer from lumbago. If my son had left the house at any time, I would have known it. I would have heard him unlocking the door.
You keep your door locked. Why?
I have always done so, as many people do. To keep unwanted visitors out.
Or to keep your son in.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting nothing. I'm merely asking. Is your son in the habit of roaming about at night?
No, he is not.
I'd be obliged, madam, if you would show me any outer clothing belonging to your son and his outdoor boots.
Oh, really?
It's all right, Shapoji. Let us do as the inspector asks.
Constable, go with Mrs. Edalji.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant, see how the men are getting on in the garden.
Very good, sir. The garden? What are they doing in the garden?
Looking for buried weapons. Oh, Sergeant, if they've drawn a blank, have a look around the house.
Yes, sir.
You won't find anything, Inspector.
Why, is it hidden?
No, I didn't mean
There
that.
is nothing to find. Nothing.
We shall see. If I have to take this house apart brick by brick...
This is intolerable. We are not criminals.
Father, don't upset yourself.
I am a man of God.
Then you should have nothing to fear, sir.
These are George's things, Inspector.
Put them on the table, will you, Constable? Sir. What have we got here? These boots. Are they the one your son was wearing when he went out last night?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, still wet, I see, and muddy. And these trousers are in the same condition?
Well, yes, he was wearing those.
Let's see this coat. There are stains on the sleeve. Look.
But they're food stains.
Are they? These white stains could be animal saliva from the pony. And these dark spots could be blood. Anyway, we shall see. We shall have this coat tested.
But George never wore that coat to go out. It is an old house coat.
Then why is it still damp?
Well, it cannot be. Let me feel it. No, it is not damp. You are mistaken, Inspector. It is perfectly dry.
And I say it is damp. Yes, Sergeant.
There's nothing in the garden so far, sir, but I found these things upstairs.
Let's have a look at them. The case first. Now we'll have it open. Razors. Cutthroat razors.
They are mine.
This one's got blood on it.
But that is not blood, can't you see? That is rust.
We'll test it, too. What have we got here? Looks like a dagger.
I believe it belongs to the young lady, sir. Haven't I seen you out with it?
Yes, but it's not a dagger.
Huh? And what is it?
A trowel. A botany trowel. I use it for collecting specimens.
What kind of specimens?
Wild flowers and other things.
Huh? What about this box?
It's a vasculum.
A what?
A vasculum.
And what's a vasculum?
I keep these specimens in it.
It's a dangerous kind of thing to me. Now, this coat. There's a hair there. It looks like a horse hair.
No, it's just a piece of thread. You're right, Mother. I'm sure it's a roving.
How about this, then? That's a horse hair, all right.
I don't see anything. Let me take it to the window. No, I don't see anything.
And I see there is, Mr. Edalji. I am taking this coat with me.
You may take it, Inspector. I am sure you will find nothing on it.
I came here to find evidence, and evidence I shall find.
Evidence of what?
Your son's guilt, Mrs. Edalji.
Later that day, Inspector Campbell and another policeman travelled to Birmingham for the purpose of calling on George at his office in Newhall Street.
Come in. Mr. George Edalji.
Yes?
We're police officers. I'm Inspector Campbell. This is my sergeant.
What's the trouble, Inspector?
We're making some inquiries about a horse that was maimed at Great Wireley last night.
Oh, yes, I heard something about it when I was coming to business this morning.
Mr. Edalji, I visited your home this morning. Your mother showed me certain clothes belonging to you with marks and stains upon them.
Well, it was probably an old coat I wear about the house, and you might find some grease on it.
These were white stains, sir.
It might be milk or oatmeal.
We also found hairs on the coat. Now, how do you explain these things?
They must have come through the material.
I think not, sir. These were horse hairs.
Then I must have got them from leaning on gates and fences where horses have been.
I'm not satisfied with your explanations, Mr. Edalji. I'm taking you into custody.
Taking me into custody? What for? What are you charging me with, Inspector?
Willfully mutilating a pony belonging to the Great Wireley Colliery sometime during the evening of August the 17th.
You're not obliged to say anything now, but we must caution you that anything you do say will be written down and may be given in evidence.
But where's your evidence? You have no evidence. What time was this done?
I can't hold a conversation with you now. We don't want to search you here, but I must ask you to let us have your pistol.
Pistol? I have no pistol.
Then what's that on the desk, sir? That's a pistol, isn't it?
That's a railway carriage door key.
We were only joking. Now, I want you to go with me to the Birmingham police office.
I'm not surprised at this. I've been expecting it for some time.
Have you got that, Sergeant?
Yes, sir. I have. It's all down.
The next day, George appeared before the magistrates at Cannock. A prima facie case was made out, and the prisoner committed for trial at the Staffordshire Quarter Sessions on October the 20th, 1903.
George Edalji, you are charged with having, on or about August the 17th, 1903, at Great Wireley in the county of Staffordshire, maliciously wounded a horse, the property of the Great Wireley Colliery Company Limited, and with having, on or about July the 11th, 1903, at Pensford in the county of Staffordshire, sent a letter to Police Sergeant Robinson threatening to murder him. How do you plead to these charges? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Sir Reginald Hardy, presiding, was a county justice who had had no legal training.
Your Honor.
Yes, Clark. What is it?
The prosecution is waiting, sir.
Oh, yes. Mr. Distano, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, members of the jury, this is no ordinary case. Yet the facts I submit speak for themselves. Briefly stated, they are as follows. A pony was found maliciously wounded early on the morning of August 18th in a field near Great Wireley Colliery. The prisoner was seen out of his house between 9 and approximately 9:30 on the night of the 17th. Police testimony will be given to this effect. Another feature of the case, to which the prosecution attaches considerable importance, is that a number of anonymous letters have come into the possession of the police. For testimony in this matter, I should like to call Mr. Thomas Gurrin. Mr. Gurrin, what is your profession?
I am a chirographist.
In layman's language, a handwriting expert.
That is correct.
And a very eminent one, I think it would be true to say.
I believe I enjoy the esteem of my fellow professionals.
Quite. You have examined the anonymous letters sent to the police and to other people accusing George Idalgi of maiming cattle, horses, and sheep.
I have.
Were some of these letters addressed to Idalgi?
They were.
Were you able to form an opinion as to the authorship of these letters?
I was.
Were they all, in your judgment, written by the same hand?
They were.
Whose hand?
George Idalgi's.
He wrote some of these letters to himself?
Yes, but in a disguised handwriting.
Exactly so.
One moment, Mr. Disternal.
Your Honor?
The jury will no doubt wish to hear an explanation from you as to why the prisoner should write letters to himself, accusing himself of these crimes.
I was coming to that, Your Honor. It is our contention that the object was to bring him into contact with the police so as to ascertain all they knew about the crimes.
I see. Please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is your considered opinion, then, Mr. Gurin, your expert opinion, that all these anonymous letters were penned by the accused.
It is.
There is no doubt in your mind on this score.
None whatsoever.
Thank you, Mr. Gurin.
Less than a year later, this expert was to admit that his testimony had helped to send an innocent man, Adolf Beck, to prison in 1896.
We now come to another outrage. The killing of a horse on September the 21st. The defense will no doubt say, and fairly say, that that crime could not have been committed by the prisoner because he was lying in Stafford jail at the time. I will, however, ask the jury to suspend their judgment in reference to this matter until they have heard the whole of the case. The letters which will be read will show that the writer of them was not acting alone, but in conjunction with some other person. And I put it to the jury, if there were a gang operating in the way suggested, what was more likely than that one of its members should commit a similar outrage in order to create evidence for the defense?
Later, Inspector Campbell was cross-examined by Mr. Vachel, defending counsel.
Mr. Campbell, have you discovered who killed the horse on September the 21st? No, sir. I beg your pardon, sir. We have an idea. Have you made an arrest? No, sir. Has anyone admitted to you that he did it? Yes. Is that person in court? He is here. Brought here by the police? Yes. What is his name? John Harry Green. He lives at Green Farm? Yes, the farmer's son.
Green was never prosecuted. He was allowed to leave the country and go to South Africa. Defense cross-examined Police Constable Cooper.
Constable, you have said you traced the prisoner's footmarks from the vicarage to the field where the horse was found. Yes, sir. When did you do this? Sometime after 9:30 on the morning of August the 18th. When the ground had been trampled in all directions by miners going to work and by curious sightseers. There were other footprints, yes, sir. Yet you managed to single out those of the prisoner from all the others. Yes, sir. A remarkable feat, which you seem to have accomplished in true Sherlock Holmes fashion. Order! Order! Now, could you describe how you compared the print made by the prisoner's boots with the ones you found? Well, I put the boot by the side of the print, flat on the ground, pressed it down with both my hands, and then I eased the hand near the heel and pressed it down with the hand nearest the toe. You put the boot by the side of the print, not in the print itself? No, sir. I did. Please go on. Then I measured the print together with some more and compared them with those made by the boot. They seemed to be the same. Seemed, Constable? Yes, sir. Constable, you say you measured these impressions? Yes, sir. With a foot rule or some such instrument? No, sir. I had no rule with me. Then how did you measure them? With bits of stick, sir. Oh, great. Bits of stick? Yes, sir. And a straw.
If there are any more interruptions, I shall have the court cleared. Carry on, counsel.
Bits of stick and a straw. I see. And with the aid of these accurate measuring tools, you judged those prints to be identical with those made by the boot belonging to the accused. Yes, sir. That is all. It is now
7:30. Do you have any more witnesses, Mr. Wakeshaw?
No, Your Honor.
Then the court is adjourned until 9:30 tomorrow morning. You are Dr. J.H. Butter, a police surgeon.
I am.
What did you find on the prisoner's clothing taken from the vicarage?
I examined the jacket, vest, and a piece of skin cut from the horse. On the jacket, I found some reddish stains, which, on being tested, proved to be mammalian blood.
That is the blood of an animal which suckles its young.
Yes, that is right.
What else did you find on the clothes?
I found 29 hairs on the jacket and 5 on the waistcoat.
Did you compare them with the hairs on the strip of skin taken from the horse?
I did.
And with what result?
I found them to be similar in color, length, and structure to those on the piece of skin.
Thank you. Does the defense wish to cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Butter, you described the stains on the clothing as being mammalian blood. How do you distinguish the two, animal blood and human blood?
It's not possible to make such a distinction.
You cannot tell the difference.
No, there is no known test whereby animal's blood can be distinguished from that of a human being.
Or a human blood stain from a splash of blood from underdone meat?
No, you could not tell.
Thank you for being so clear on this point. How did you obtain the clothes and the piece of horse's hide?
They were brought to me.
By the police?
Yes.
In separate containers?
No, together in a sack.
So, the clothes and the piece of skin were bundled up together in the sack, possibly for several hours.
I believe so.
And now, Dr. Butter, I should like you to think carefully before you answer my next question. Is it not possible that the horse hairs you found on the coat and vest came to be there through having been rubbed off from the piece of hide in the sack?
I cannot say for certain.
That was not my question. I asked you, and I repeat the question, is it not possible that the hairs came to be there in the way I described?
Yes, it is possible.
I deny that I had anything to do with the mutilation of the horse on August the 17th, nor was I connected with the outrage in any way, or with any of the other outrages.
You were offered bail. Why did you refuse?
I did not feel inclined to accept it because of the commotion which the case had aroused. This would have made it difficult for me to go backwards and forwards to business without being the object of curiosity and possibly hostility. I also felt that another outrage might be committed while I was in prison.
And you would have an alibi.
It would have been clear that I could have had nothing to do with it.
At the time of your arrest, you are reported as saying, "I am not surprised at this. I have been expecting